All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Brian Goulet.
And I'm Rachel Goulet.
Hey, Rachel.
I am not Drew.
You are not Drew, which is actually why we're here right now. So,
well, we're here for other reasons.
True, but
also
we have an announcement to make. This Pencast is going to be a little bit different today. We have some news to share, and I've written out some notes here because I want to be really intentional about our message. But it might look like I'm reading, but I wrote the words, so forgive me if it sounds like I'm reading. But
you are reading.
Here it goes. I am reading. Anyway, we're sorry to announce to you that Drew is no longer with Goulet Pens officially. Our intention was to announce this here with this video, but word did get out last week. So we just really appreciate all of you who've been patient and wanted to hear the news directly from us. So we are confirming it. It is true. Now, Drew's had a really big impact here over 13 years. And he's been a part of your lives too. And we know it feels really weird to not have a lot of notice or detailed explanation about why. And in the absence of that information, it's human nature to assume something negative, right? So as sudden and surprising as it might seem, or at least might seem to you all, this is something that Drew and I were actually had in discussion for quite some time. And it was something confidential between us. While we share a lot publicly here, maybe too much sometimes, and we do enjoy connecting with you all in the pen world, there are other aspects of our lives that we need to keep private. And this is one of those situations. This was an individual and a personal situation, and there's no scandal to be found here. That's not what we're dealing with.
This is not like, oh, we're here to spill the tea and give you all the details. Like, we're not here for the drama. That's not how we roll.
There's not a lot of drama to begin with, but then also this is a private situation, and we're just going to kind of respectfully ask that you respect that.
No drama.
Yeah. Internet being what it is, I'm sure you'll read or you'll hear speculation, and we just ask that you kind of avoid that temptation and not play into all that. This change is hard enough for us and for Drew, and we really hope that you can respect the need for some discretion and privacy here. Now, that said, we know you're probably missing him and wanting some kind of sense of closure that we may not be able to fully provide, but we do encourage you to leave a comment here on this video so that on Drew's own time, he can come back and look at it and read your kind words. I'm sure that would mean a lot to him.
Feeling the love from the fountain pen community for sure. Just, what he's meant to you, favorite memory, just anything that just, it's a nice thing.
Yeah, we are humans, and it is nice to know
feelings.
that we cared about, for sure.
We care immensely about him. Like, we seriously going to miss him. He's been such a huge asset, going all the way back to our garage days, your friendship with him. Mm-hmm. He's seriously going to be missed. This is a hard one. Yeah, we've really cherished our time that we've had with him. We have a lot of memories together, ones that you've seen on camera, plenty of those for sure, but plenty off camera, as we navigated the changes over Goulet Pens for the last 13 years. It's a long time.
Going from the garage, moving multiple spaces. There's been a lot of different things that we've evolved over the time, and we truly, truly just want him to find happiness and fulfillment in all of his future endeavors. And I'm sure you all wish that too. Now, that said, as we've needed to process Drew's leaving here at Goulet Pens and our team, it immediately brought up a lot of logistical questions for us.
I'm sure your first question is, what's going to happen to the Pencast?
For sure. That is literally what people's first question was when it got leaked early.
I will say, I am not here to replace Drew. There is no replacing Drew Brown.
Drew. Let's be clear about that.
He is Drew and you are you.
Yeah. But, we are about business being personal here. Yeah. So, we do like to try to be our authentic selves here. So I'm still me. I'm still going to do my thing. But Rachel's also pretty awesome. And for those of you that have been following us for a while, we've done a ton of videos together.
It's been a while. Recently. It's been a while for me. COVID kind of wrecked me, when you're in a place of like panic attacks and anxiety. It's hard to be in front of camera. And then the world got hard and I just had trouble with all of that. So
navigating virtual schooling with our kids and their transition to middle school and now high school.
Our own personal private things that we haven't shared. Like, it was a hard period. So I kind of stepped away from the camera, but I'm here right now. I'm a little nervous, but I'm here trying to make it happen.
I've said before, like, Rachel's never actually watched the whole Pencast, which is still true.
I have skimmed. In fact, there was one time I remember specifically because I happened to be watching the part where you're like, Rachel's not listening to this anyway. She's not watching this anyway. And I was like, Brian, I was totally listening right at that moment. Like, called you out.
You didn't have anybody like specifically tell you to watch that part? You just happen to be okay. Wow, of course.
You don't know when I'm going to skim through. You got to be careful what you say.
That's true. Rachel's kind of.
My family watches it too.
There's a lot of people who watch it. So,
yes.
you know.
Anyway.
That's part of the thing, though, is like we know the Pencast means so much more.
It does.
To you all, to the whole community. And it means a lot to us, too, honestly. So, you know, the Pencast is the first thing to talk about, kind of logistically. So, honestly, we really wrestled with what to do with the Pencast. Drew was a part of its formation.
Such a big part of it.
Obviously, been an anchor, a co-host the whole time along with me. Even when I've been out, he's had other people in. So I know that he's like really tied and associated with it. And I'm not trying to just like be like, oh, we don't need him. Let's get somebody else in. We're trying to be very respectful.
I'm not him. I'm not going to be him.
No. But at the same time, you're you and you're pretty awesome. So,
well, thanks. You're a little biased, but anyway.
Well, not a little biased. I'm as biased as you can possibly get. Pro team Rachel.
Okay. So the plan is, yes, we do want to keep the Pencast going.
We do. Yeah.
It might look a little different.
It's definitely going to look different. So we'll go ahead and key that up right now. You know, we considered maybe sunsetting the Pencast and maybe starting something new.
Wouldn't be the first time.
We've done that with various forms, which I'll share in a second for those of you that are maybe newer and don't know our whole history. We talked about maybe taking an extended hiatus just to give us time to kind of think about it, you know. But
you guys are already missing it. Like just 2 weeks of not airing. Where's the Pencast? Is everyone okay? What's going on?
Literally, if we miss 1 week, we start getting emails and calls and comments about it. So we feel the love. We really do. You know, we thought about maybe doing it, but less frequently, or maybe me continuing to do it with regularity, but doing it solo, or maybe anchor it solo and have
lots of options.
Infrequent guests. We've talked through a lot of options, and maybe there's even some that we haven't thought about. What's very evident, though, is just how much this show has meant to all of you.
It blows my mind that you watch this guy talk for hours every week, and you say it's not long. Like, I don't get it, but I love y'all for it. You're a special bunch.
And Rachel's very much pro team Brian, but
I am pro team Brian, but
with regularity, she's like, why do people watch you so much?
Well, I hear you talk enough, so I don't know.
That's true. You do get your fill. I do talk as much in my personal life as I do on camera.
You're not wrong.
Talker, yeah. Anyway, so we wanted to honor, you know, what the Pencast has been so far and keep it going in the most organic way that we can. So we've got some thoughts about that. First one is the frequency, right? Because that's the biggest one. It takes a lot to produce, takes a lot to prepare, and just time sitting in the chair recording it. So my desire is to maintain doing it weekly. That's my desire.
I was like, let's please be realistic.
But realistically, Rachel always, whenever there's like any type of hiccup, she's like, we can cancel the Pencast. We don't have to do it. And I was
You're
like,
sick, Brian. You don't have a voice.
Like, if I can do it, I'm going to do it. You know, that's always been
I know.
a thing.
He knows how much it means to everyone. And I totally respect that. But
also,
also
to me too. Like, I really appreciate doing it. It anchors my week. It keeps me in touch with you all.
But sometimes you got to balance other aspects of life. Because
be realistic. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the intention is to get back to weekly realistically for the next couple months. We're approaching our holiday season. Like there's a lot, and there's other things going on. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Like
26 people.
Yeah, people
here.
with
a lot.
Other things outside. Anyway.
Yeah. So
it's gonna get a little busy, so we're gonna try to keep it going weekly. But I think maybe every other week would be a good realistic expectation.
I'm always optimistic. So
I know you
I want
are.
to say I want to do it weekly, but I think
in your classic overcommitter.
I think the more responsible thing to do here, which is where Rachel helps balance me out,
undercommit and over deliver. What is it? You don't want to
undercommit, over deliver.
Yeah, you don't want to overcommit and under deliver.
Which I do frequently.
You want to undercommit and then over deliver. So I'd rather say, oh, it's less frequent, and then if we're able to do them more frequently, it's like, ooh, bonus.
Yes. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to commit to doing it every other week for the short term.
At least through the end of the year.
Yeah.
You know?
And then the intention is to work to get it back up to weekly again as we have the resources.
We got to shift some things around.
Yeah. So as far as who's going to be the co-host, Rachel is looking to be more involved.
I don't want to do it every time.
She doesn't want to do it weekly, that's for sure.
I
talked about like
mad respect for Brian, mad respect for Drew doing it. Like, whew.
It's a commitment.
I don't know if you know this. I'm an introvert. I can turn it on, but then I'm drained afterwards. Yeah. So
I'm
willing, but I don't. Can I What's the term that we use?
Unreliably commit.
Unreliably commit. I would like to unreliably commit.
That's been sort of the mantra in our life for the last, at least for this summer, but for the last year. We'll unreliably commit.
That means like the heart and the intention is there, but realistically.
We're balancing a lot. And specifically, Rachel does so much behind the scenes to make Goulet Pens work. So there's a question about that later we'll talk about. There's a couple of questions about that, which I'm sure people will love to hear straight from your mouth. So
I was like, don't say the horse's mouth, please.
I didn't say that.
I appreciate that.
The thought did cross my mind. But
I know earlier we were talking about like drama, and I was like, save the drama for your mama. And I'm like, no, this mama don't want no drama.
Don't want no drama. Save the drama for your llama. Mama. How about that?
Llama? Who has a llama?
I don't know, but you should get one and give it all your drama.
Do you have a llama? Let us know in the comments.
There you go, Rachel. So you're a natural. Rachel's done like hundreds of videos with me. So
but it's been a while.
It has been a while. So anyway, I will commit to being the anchor for the Pencast. The co-host thing is going to be the biggest challenge. So
I'd love to get Janaea on here. You guys' YouTube, offered. You haven't seen as much of her. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's been on here. She's had some segments. She got a segment today.
Oh yeah.
So that's one thing. But again, everybody else on the team here is doing plenty of other stuff. So to say like, oh, we're going to have a dedicated co-host.
I think it's going to rotate.
We'll probably rotate it. So I'm going to commit to being the anchor, but I'm not sure who else on the team will be able to commit, at least for the remainder of 2024 as we kind of sort things out. We're getting into our busiest season with the holidays, as Rachel mentioned. So
I think we want to know like what's important to you guys. Like, would you rather have it be more frequent and maybe be shorter, or longer and maybe less frequent?
I can tell you everybody wants it longer.
Well, yeah. And everyone wants like, I want it longer and more frequent. Well,
Okay.
But anyway, for real, we want to hear from you. So we put together a survey, a Google form thing. So link in the description.
Yep.
And not just about the Pencast specifically, although we definitely want to, hear about the Pencast, but we want your feedback. Like, what kind of videos do you like to see? Do you like short, long, who, like in-depth reviews versus like...
We're having to evaluate, because again, it's like, it's all time. It's all resources. So we're going to have to make some trade-offs, right? Especially for the short term.
And the most important thing is like our videos are here to serve you. Like they're not just for our own whatever. Like it's to give, it's not for our own whatever. It's to give you the type of, what do you call it? Edutainment?
Yes.
Edutainment that you'd like to see. So we want to know what you'd like to see.
Yeah.
So we can do those things for you with the best of our abilities.
And if you're an audio listener, go to the YouTube publishing of this video and look in the video description. You'll see that survey there, and give us your feedback, because we definitely want to hear it, especially right now.
So there's like other types of videos besides the Pencast, right? So there's like
we got the What's New videos.
Yeah, that has been Drew's like weekly or almost weekly. What's
It's like
new.
every other week for the most part. So it's basically like a more in-depth look at the new products and showing them and stuff like that. In talking about that, Janaea is really passionate about wanting to try that.
She does like short ones for Instagram and
absolutely. And she's got a different take on things than I do. So I think it'd be great to get her in the mix. So we'll probably try out a couple of those and see, we'll unreliably commit to that as well. I might jump in and do some, maybe we'll have some other team members. I'm not quite sure.
Try a few things.
Janaea will probably be the one to try that out first, and then maybe me a little bit. So we do like that, and we'll want to keep it going as a concept.
And then there's all the other videos.
We've got the more like highly produced, like the intentional kind of ad hoc YouTube videos. So, Drew and I have been sharing that load for the last several years, and we just don't really have anybody to step in and fill in for him on that.
You're just going to have to do more.
I will try. I'll make as many as I can.
Unreliably commit to doing more.
Yes, but our output is just going to be lower than it normally would be.
We'll work up to it.
At least for the next several months, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not sure. So we might bring in some other team members on that one. That's probably the hardest one to bring in other people, because it's actually a lot of prep.
It is.
A lot of time, and you got to really be on. And honestly, shooting the B-roll for those videos, like all the hand shots, is so much more difficult than you would think.
It is. Like, it's so easy to just, if you're a little shaky or if you're a little...
And the lighting and everything.
It's
these
hard.
Small, round, shiny objects, very difficult to shoot. So my intention is to get other people to do it, but it's going to take a lot of time to get people trained up on how to do it. So we'll explore that. Now, I did want to give a little bit of context, because a lot of you are newer. I thought it might be helpful.
Maybe never seen me before.
This is true. Well, I mean, you're on videos that we have, but honestly, a lot of the videos that you've been on have not had like a long life on YouTube.
No, I have one solo video. Please don't look for it. I'm not even going to say what it is. I'm so embarrassed of it.
It's the Pilot Parallels. But you did great on that one.
Yeah, but
it was a long time ago though. So I thought I would give a little bit of context just in case you're like, oh my gosh, the Pencast, this is going to change everything. Yeah, it might, but this whole business, this whole video thing has been all about change and evolution.
Yeah.
So I wanted to tell the story of that.
Gosh, it's been 15 years you've been making videos, right?
Close to 15 years.
Because we're hitting our 15th anniversary
in November.
And you started making videos like
January 2010.
Yeah. When we had a newborn, or right before we had a newborn.
10 days before Joseph was born. I was like, what better time than to start a video series? So we started doing regular pen shows in like this type of format in the primordial version of the Pencast, dating all the way back to March of 2010. So that's how long ago I was like, we should do a regular show.
But they weren't on YouTube initially.
No, they weren't. So they were
we tried
live.
So many platforms.
Yes. YouTube didn't have any streaming service. And YouTube had a 10-minute limit on videos at that time.
And we know how this guy can talk.
Yes, I can talk. So we actually used a service called Ustream. And because I love alliteration, I called it Ustream Tuesdays at 2:22 because it was at 2:22 in the afternoon.
And how many people tune in on a Tuesday afternoon at 2:22?
Like single digits.
Yeah. I was like, after a while, I was like,
we had some dedicated folks and they were like, hey, we really like this format. But most people were like, yeah, I work.
Yeah.
So I can't watch this live.
Why don't you try doing it like at night when other people can watch?
Yes. So we love the alliteration of the name, but there was terrible timing, though the idea was good. So we evolved that series immediately and turned that into Right Time at 9.
I'm so curious, like those of you watching this, like how many of you remember some of these? I'm really curious, like how long y'all have been watching.
That's why I wanted to kind of go down memory lane here. But the Right Time at 9 was a live broadcast that we did with the two of us.
We did.
Lots of times with, one of our babies in arms.
Either me being very pregnant or with a newborn. And I would stay on until I'm like, okay, time to go do newborn things.
We shot that at 9 p.m. This was after we'd worked a full work day with 1 or 2 kids.
People are like, you look tired. And
we're like, we are tired. And then we would end that broadcast. I would upload it and everything. And then we would do more work. Like that's what the business needed in those early days.
Yeah.
We've never worked so hard. We started out,
bonus points if anyone remembers the episode in our garage where then there was a mouse and I like flipped out and it was a whole thing because you were eating popcorn and you left popcorn and then so we called it the Christmas mouse episode.
I know for sure that it was the popcorn that brought the mouse.
Well, you're like, no one's going to remember that episode. I'm just curious, you can't find it on YouTube. Like all this stuff is gone. But it's not recorded anymore. If you remember the Christmas mouse episode.
If you remember that, you are super, super OG.
Let me know.
Anyway, so we did that on Ustream and then Ustream turned into Justin TV. If any of y'all remember that. Most of you probably don't even know what that is.
It was all before.
This was before Instagram was around and certainly before TikTok.
Instagram was kind of around, but not with videos.
Instagram started in 2010.
But there were no videos then.
Oh, certainly not.
It was just like you'd post like a antique picture of like your food.
Yeah. An antique picture of your food. I like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was pictures with filters is basically what it was. We did hundreds of those broadcasts of Right Time over many, many years. We did take some breaks and brought it back a couple of times. Most recently, we brought it back when the COVID shutdown first happened. Right. And we were like, we can't do anything like normal.
And you can't do anything with anybody else.
So it's like, well, we're both at home, so let's kick up Right Time again. And so
our kids would like come in and like put like jewelry on you while we were talking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So y'all might remember that version of it, but it literally goes all the way back to 2010.
That was a struggle to keep going because that's when like my anxiety was like full on. So like some days I was able to turn it on to be present. Other days
you were like, I don't have it in me. And I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of that.
But then that evolved into the current Pencast. Like you and Drew figured out how to do it like remotely at first.
There's more.
Oh, there's more?
So simultaneously in doing the Right Time stuff early on, I had an email blog series called Mailbox Monday.
Again, those alliterations.
Love that alliteration. It was in like the 2010 to 2012-ish kind of time.
Back when everything went on the blog because social media wasn't a thing.
Yes. And this is back when I used to put my email address at the end of every video to be like, email me if you have any questions. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, but you can still find it.
Email our team because they have the time to answer. So I was basically rounding up all the responses I was already doing for people and I just put them into a blog and it was like, cool.
Because we didn't have like a customer care team at the time. It was like just us.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it was like early days and it was like, okay, this is like primordial Q&A. So that eventually evolved into Goulet Q&A,
Mm-hmm.
which was a video series essentially of the same idea.
You did that by yourself for how many episodes?
Close to 300 episodes of that.
Insane.
And that was the first idea of like, let's do this. Well, I guess we did Right Time weekly. That might have been the first weekly series we did. But then, the Q&A, that was like, okay. Because I think we'd maybe...
That wasn't live. That was the
It
difference.
wasn't live. Yeah. So I would record that, taking questions from our audience and just basically talking into a camera.
And that's when we realized how long Brian can talk on his own.
Yeah. I was like, I got this, everybody. I can do this reliably ongoing. So I did that for 7.5 years.
That's amazing.
It's something.
That's so much talking.
It's something.
That's so much of Brian talking on the internet.
I heard the same things back then that I hear with the Pencast now, where you're like, Brian, you can really skip one. And I was like, no, I can't. I got to do them. But we also had a series called Right Now.
Oh yeah, we tried to do that like almost daily. It wasn't always daily.
Well, YouTube was really, really pushing for like daily vlogs. This was in like the 2017, 2018
so this was like,
frame.
and Drew, like you and Drew and me, we would kind of rotate the host. You guys did a lot
I rotated
of
a lot of other team members, but that was the first notion of like, well, other than the Right Time, that was the first notion of like, let's do a host, a co-host sort of thing.
And that was like Drew's like kind of first like really being in
front
of the camera.
Yeah, because he was kind of my right-hand guy with a lot of product knowledge.
We would rotate, especially the early episodes. Like
absolutely.
We would, yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of, but we were trying to do them daily. We ended up doing like 2 to 3 a week. And we did that for a while. I think
those were shorter.
We did about 200 episodes of that.
Yeah.
So that's why I had to go back and look at these up, because I was like, dang, we've done a lot of freaking video. We ended up sunsetting Goulet Q&A when COVID hit. And honestly, we ended up sunsetting Right Now when COVID hit, because I literally couldn't do something with a host. So that's when we started doing Right Time again,
right.
Which we were then having a hard time keeping up. So, we were not doing any regular type of thing at that point. This was like mid 2020.
Yeah.
And it was like, dang, this is really kind of sucks. Like I miss
you
doing that.
This.
And I was like, especially if you put yourself back at that time, I know nobody wants to because it wasn't fun, but it was like, we all needed something to feel connected to other people. We needed something to look forward to get out of just the daily malaise of COVID life. So we were like, we should rebirth something in whatever format we can now. And so we took like, okay, we're going to take like the co-host sort of more improvisational nature of the Right Nows, which Rachel was like, not interested. And then I was like, and then we can combine that with the Goulet Q&A with the more like grounded, prepared content. And literally, if you look back at the first episode of the Pencast, we called it, Q&A plus Right Now equals whatever it was called. We can call it Pencast in the first episode, but that was the birth of the Pencast. So, for those of you who have only gotten to know the regularity of the Pencast, it truly was an evolution over a decade of work that became an evolution of that, which is why now it's like, okay, this is actually just another evolution. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
We're just going to keep it going and we just go with the flow. So again, going to point to the video survey. We want to hear from you about what you want to see, especially of the Pencast, like what parts of it you really like and what you want to see more of.
So the TLDR summary of all this,
I know,
which you're supposed to do at the beginning, but I did it at the end. We've done a lot of different episodes of varying formats over the 14 and a half years we've been doing this, and we have no plans of stopping, though we may need to evolve. So the bottom line is, for the short term, we are going to be time and resource constrained. So we're ultimately only going to be able to produce the videos that we have the capacity to do until we're able to kind of fill back out and get more help. So given our constraints, what we're asking is for you to tell us what you value the most, and then we'll put our time and energy into that. We'll
unreliably commit to doing our best.
To that. So yes, Google Form will be the answer for that. And that's officially the end of this announcement. So now I believe, are going to get into
the main show,
episode 149 with Brian and Rachel. So let's hop to it.
All right. So episode 149, that's the thing.
It is. So I'm thinking, if we want, we can maybe cut this and then have some of the like natural prep.
Okay.
Like the natural kind of the black and white, because that'll feel very familiar to folks.
Which will then go into the thing we just did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
do you want to stay there and I will sit down?
Like, wow. I mean, by this point, like people already seen you sitting down.
No, it's for the beginning.
I don't know if we're going to put this at the very beginning or not.
The black and white thing doesn't make sense to do then after all this.
I guess it doesn't make sense. Maybe this is the black and white thing about us talking about the black and white thing makes sense.
No.
It's not as natural in this context because like we normally aren't already filming something. Whatever. Okay.
I don't know what's happening right now.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk about your initial impression of everything, but let's just get into the episode and then we'll figure it out. Okay.
Let's take a little pause.
Okay.
Just in case we need to cut this.
You're unpausing?
Unpause.
Okay, cool. All right, ready? Welcome, everybody, to episode number 149 of the Goulet Pencast, where fountain pens are still a thing. I am Brian Goulet.
I'm Rachel Goulet.
And we're here from Goulet Pens to deliver this casual and informal, tangential and extraneous, superfluous and extemporaneous fountain pen show, where we talk about what's going on at the Goulet Pen Company and in our fountain pen lives.
That is a long intro.
It is, and I still have to look at it because I can't memorize anything. In today's show, we're going to be talking about hypothetically drinkable ink. Yeah. How organic matter can be cast into resin.
Ooh, what kind of organic matter?
We'll find out. Exactly how our in-stock status works on gouletpens.com.
That I can answer.
Yes. Being conscious of wasting rare metals when grinding nibs.
Oh, I bet you did a deep dive on this.
A little bit. A little like ankle deep dive. But that's not really a dive.
No, you do that, you're going to get
injured.
injured.
Into the shallow
don't do
end,
that.
But that's when you get hurt. I don't know what you call it.
Please don't do that.
Okay. We talk about how we keep our website up to date.
I can also answer that one.
She's the one. And Janae is going to have a fall-themed Put Your Finger Down segment, which we'll also be participating in. And we'll get to talk about my shenanigans over the last several weeks, of which there are many. And you'll get to see Rachel's reaction to all of my adventures. So that alone will be pretty interesting to watch, I think. So let's start off the episode with some feedback. All right, so from Richard 1776 says, I have 2,000 Hot Wheels.
That's so many Hot Wheels.
That's a lot of Hot Wheels. I was at the store. This is when I was talking about rediscovering my Hot Wheels collection.
Oh, yeah.
When we were cleaning out our closets and stuff. Richard says, I was at the store looking at Hot Wheels, and there was an old timer there too. He was in his 70s, I'm sure. He started talking Hot Wheels with me, and when I said I had 2,000, he snickered and told me he had 20,000 Hot Wheels. He's been collecting since the 70s. Richard also says, I play guitar, but not by ear. Here on YouTube, 24/7 Guitar with Howard Hunt is a really good channel for guitar learning, for me anyway. He plays very well, not sterile, but with some feel, and he provides on-screen tabs, which are a lifesaver. He's worth a look. I think he used to write for Guitar Player magazine. He knows what he's talking about. Great teacher. I will have to look into that.
I'm so confused. We're talking Hot Wheels and now we're talking guitar?
Welcome to the Pencast, Rachel.
Okay, whew.
Buckle up and hang on.
I'm like, what is happening right now?
I've talked about both of these things. So
in the same... Okay.
I don't know if it was in the same episode.
Here we go.
Very well could be. All right. Blackjack says, on the topic of 3D printed fountain pens, which I talked about.
Of course you did.
In a previous question. My first Goulet order was actually a pair of Conklin Omniflex nibs and converters for a pair of 3D printed fountain pens that I was working on. So making their own.
That's cool.
Unfortunately, both pens broke.
Oh.
So yes, 3D printed pens can be very fragile depending on the design and filament you use. However, I just recently got a much more durable filament that will hopefully work a lot better. So 3D printed pens still very much in the experimental kind of stages, but kind of cool that you can experiment with making your own if you're a tinkerer.
All right. Simi Lorraine remod pizza. So I guess you guys were talking about mod pizza?
We were talking about mod pizza, yeah.
She says, or they say, mine almost always has white sauce, garlic pesto drizzle, grilled chicken, and then the weirdness of cauliflower, broccoli, pineapple, garbanzo beans, bacon, and or all of the cheeses. Then
sounds really good.
Mike's hot honey drizzled on top after it's baked.
Ooh, wow.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
I mean, I thought mine was...
I'm into that.
Mine's not that dissimilar. I feel like
but
mine's...
You definitely have like a... process for
whether it's mod or what's that other one, Blaze Pizza, like any of those, like make your own pizza. I don't make it, you tell them what to make, they make your own.
It's like Chipotle style but for pizza.
So anytime I can get pesto as my sauce, like I always do, because I love pesto. I didn't like it as a kid because I thought it looked weird. And now I love it. And I'm just like, I need this in everything.
It does look a little weird, to be fair.
I mean, yeah, I get it. So anytime I have that as an option, I'm all about it. Regular cheese. And then I do basically almost all the veggies, especially if they've roasted, corn, broccoli, whatever. Sometimes I have to limit myself because it just gets literally too much. But I always add pineapple. So I discovered I used to do like pineapple or like a, a barbecue chicken pineapple kind of thing, or a veggie. But once I realized if you add the pineapple to the veggie, chef's kiss. It's amazing. And then I do more pesto on top because
why not?
And all the seasonings and everything. So it's like we call it like, and I always do like the cauliflower.
You often need like two hands to eat one slice with hers because the stuff on it weighs so much.
Well, I'm not gluten allergic. I'm gluten sensitive. Yeah. So I always try to get like the cauliflower crust or whatever.
Which is a lot thinner crust.
It is. So there is a lot. The ratio of toppings to substances is
like an 8-to-1.
Yeah.
it's a lot.
And then you get the pesto all on your teeth, but I think it's worth it. So yeah, pineapple with veggies, really good. So with good. Pesto.
Yeah, I'm into it. Cool. All right, that's it for feedback now. I'm sure we'll have more after this.
So this is feedback not at all related to pens. Mostly not at all.
Generally, it's not related to pens.
Okay.
It could be.
So I'm really curious, then I guess, what is it, like comments left on here will be the feedback for next time?
Yeah, basically.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yep. Yes, so we'll have a lot more next time, I'm sure. So that's it for feedback. Let's talk about some new stuff. All right, I got a bunch of new pens to talk about. Again, it's been a couple of weeks, so I can't cover everything that we've been carrying, but I wanted to hit some of the highlights. So we definitely have some new Lamy pens that have come out. Typically, we're not doing a lot of Lamy releases at the end of summer, but Lamy's is going nuts.
Usually there's like a Studio and then usually like an Ion or Scala around this time of year. Yeah, that is pretty typical. Yeah. You'll see like the All-Star and the Safari in the spring, and then you'll see some of the, I'll call them higher end for lack of more premium, special editions in the fall. So not only do we have those, but they came out with another round of All-Stars. So this year they came out with like the 2 summer safaris, and now there's like 2 fall All-Stars, and I am here for it.
Yeah.
Because they're really nice.
Yeah, exactly. And these are online only, so they're not going to have these in brick and mortar stores.
Maybe select ones.
Which in the US is like, well, most people are buying it online anyway, but it's a bigger deal in like Europe and other places.
Yeah.
Where they don't, they're much more brick and mortar centric. But anyway, so these All-Stars are called Autumn Pink and Sage.
Autumn Pink, one word.
It is indeed.
Lamy being Lamy.
So you can check out a video. I did a video on that one. You can check those out with some pairings with ink for each of those colors and comparisons to other Lamy pens.
I was like, not only did you match the color to the body, but the grip is different. So you also match colors to the grip. Like you went extra.
Trying to make it worthwhile for you to watch.
Oh, it's plenty to watch.
Yep. So we've got those. Those are for sale right now. Same price as regular All-Stars, $37.60. We also have Lamy Scala. I always say Scala.
Is it Scala?
I don't actually know which one it is.
I know it's lowercase.
It is. Whatever it is, the Scala.
It's not that.
In Piano Red.
Piano Red.
One word. So Scala is not an extremely popular pen. It's a little like on the pricier side, and it's got the same nib and stuff like that, that it normally would. But
well, sometimes it's steel nib, sometimes it's the 14 karat gold. Yeah. So that the price obviously, it's kind of like the Studio. It can come either way, and the price varies.
This one is a gold nib one, and I love these Lamy gold nibs. The Lamy 14 karat nibs. I mean, I love the Lamy 2000.
They flow so well.
They flow well. They're kind of bouncy. And they look really cool too. So I'm a big fan of these.
The broad's a gusher.
Yeah. So anyway, you can check out the Piano Red. It's a really nice color too. And then there's a Safari that they did. So this was not like a seasonal or special
it's a regular edition.
Yeah, it's a new regular edition, which I am here for because it is a matte color and it's called Steel Black. It is.
I'm so curious, like
not worlds different from charcoal.
I was like, there's charcoal, and then there's like they've done an all black before.
They did, but that was a special edition years ago.
I bet you have a video on that coming out soon.
I bet I do. Next week is scheduled to go out. So I compare Steel Black with. There's a shiny black that's regularly available, but this is totally different. And it's like all stealthed out. It looks awesome. It's got a black nib, and it's like a almost a little bit blue. So it's not fully
Steel
black. Yeah, it just looks really good. So anyway, I'm here for it. And it's same price as regular Safaris. And this will just be regular ongoing. So I'm really curious to see how this does compared to charcoal. Because charcoal is usually a top seller.
It's our number one. Yeah.
So
of the regular editions.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it holds up. And then the other one, the non-Lamy that I have to announce here, is a Schon design pen. So
new to us.
So this is after I met with Ian Schon at the DC Pen Show this year. You know, we were talking and he was like, hey, the matte black finish that you guys have, he's like, my anodizer may not be able to do it reliably anymore. So he's like, we may not be able to offer that as a regular pen. And I was like, I really want to have a regular pen.
And this is the one we have on the Pocket 6, right?
Correct. Yeah, the Pocket 6. So, you know, I was like, we've done limited edition, special edition type things, but the problem is when those sell out, then there's like nothing.
Yeah, we want to have
on the site
something going.
So I was like, I want something to be like a stable thing. So I was talking to him about what the options are. He's had a lot going on with moving his facility. They had all kinds of craziness over the last year to get that up and running. I won't get into it now, but he was like, before we're up and running, he's like, here are the options. And one of those options was Ultim, which is a material that if you don't know what it is, I'm not going to try to sell you on it, but it's kind of like an industrial material. It's really temperature resistant. It's really chemical resistant. You know, it's used a lot in kind of industrial applications.
Okay. So it's kind of like if you know kind of thing?
If you know, you know. And it's
I don't know.
And if you look at the color of it, you're like, why? But it's the natural color of Ultim. So those who know Ultim will know.
Is it like an engineered plastic kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, arguably all plastic is engineered, but it's like
that's true.
It's like a special. It's more of a specialty plastic. So it is like a resin material, but it's just got some interesting properties to it. It's very impact resistant, very durable. So it's really like that everyday carry kind of crowd that is into this stuff. A lot of people they make some like knife handles and stuff like that out of it. So people who are into knives will probably know them as well. So it's really going to be kind of for that crowd. So it's a pretty like indestructible material.
So that should be launching pretty soon. We just need to photograph it.
That'll be a Pocket 6, and it's cool because
it's really close to a Pocket 6 actually.
Yeah, like it's slightly different.
Yeah, but it is still like the same pocket size, still is the number 6 nib, but like the dimensions I think are just slightly different.
But it's translucent, so you can eyedropper convert it, and then you can see ink sloshing around, which is kind of cool, right?
That's fun.
So that's fun, and our plan is to be able to work with Ian and have that available as more of an ongoing thing. So.
As we also pursue like limited special editions.
Absolutely.
Other things that are new, TWSBI Eco. I love Eco. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
In Irish green with onyx trim. So this is the first black trim
Eco.
TWSBI.
It's the first black trim.
Yeah,
TWSBI
I
ever?
believe
Really?
so.
They've done bronze. They've done rose gold. Obviously gold, rhodium.
Yeah, I think this is the first black one, and the nib.
Iris. Yeah, it might be.
They've done the rainbow, and you got the kyanite blue 700R.
Yeah, you're right.
I think this is the first black.
I
think it is.
I know it's the first black Eco.
Yes, and I'm also thinking like, Pelican has that new one coming out. That's also the first one with black trim. So
everybody's getting on the black trim train.
Yeah. So that's a new thing. So
yeah. It's a little bit of a premium for that one, so it's priced.
Anytime you get the different trim, yeah.
But it looks good. The green is a nice dark green. I'm into it.
Eco Broad, it's one of my favorite nibs.
It's good.
I'm here for the broads. Good. We also picked up. It's not new, but I guess new to us. New. It's new-ish. The Opus 88 demonstrator in blue whale. So this has like a screen printed design of like. Well, a blue whale in the ocean. So it's like clear, but then you have the design. So that looks pretty cool.
It looks really good.
And then they just announced the new Jacques Herbin 1670 anniversary ink for this year. It is called Turquoise de Perse. Perse. Perse.
Let's go with that.
I don't speak French. It is coming later this month. We're working on our photo and stuff. I did have the chance to swab it and play with it. It is gorgeous. It looked great on my fingers and my pants too.
You got it on your pants too?
Well, yeah. I mean, technically, I also was swabbing up a new Ferris wheel ink that is like magenta. So between the pink and the blue, it ended up more purple. And yes, I did get on my pants, but they did. I'm wearing them now. They washed out.
They washed out? Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so, no, it's gorgeous. It's a turquoise with a gold shimmer, and it just. it's just a really nice color.
Or like a light gold shimmer, right? Because usually the Herbon inks are not as like intense shimmer as some other colors.
It's not intense, but it's
noticeable.
It's noticeable.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really
All right.
nice.
Cool.
I also just added some new package sets. So like they're not like a package set in the sense that it's like a gift box. It's more of a virtual bundle.
Yeah.
But we used to have these what we call the Come Sail Away sailor compass sets. So you'd get like a sailor compass, which was their entry level, a notebook and some ink samples. But those pens were discontinued. Now there's the Tuzu. So I brought back the Come Sail Away, now featuring the Tuzu. Nice. So you can get the Tuzu, you get a notebook, you get 3 ink samples that I kind of handpicked to try to match, and all at a slight deal. So go check those out. And we also just got our fall shopping guide up on the site. So Glenn did a great job with the photography. I gave him a really obscure, like I always try to find like an inspiration image to get the color palette. So the one I found ended up being like a vintage camping fall kind of vibe.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't even know what that means. I just had a picture and I'm like, this is the color palette. But he did a great job putting that together. So if you're in the mood for a fall ink or a fall pen that isn't just like, I think in the past we've done like stereotypical like red, orange, yellow, brown, because it's fall leaves.
Makes sense, yeah.
We went a little more sophisticated this time.
Sophisticated?
Yeah.
It's
like grown-up fall.
Is the other stuff not sophisticated?
No, but I mean, we just
took a different angle to it.
Yeah. So check out those images.
Awesome.
And maybe go shopping. Or at least just look at the images.
You should at least look at the images, yeah, for sure. Cool. All right, that's a lot of new stuff. We have plenty more actually. So you can check out the coming soon page on our site. You can also check out the new arrivals. That's where you get to be in the know on everything. Good job, Rachel. So now we get to go into Q&A. Some of the meat and potatoes.
Oh
here.
boy.
You ready for this?
I don't think I am.
Well, we're doing it anyway.
Is it getting warm in here? It's getting warm in here.
It's part of the experience.
Oh boy.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
I'm like, yep.
I'm trying to be better about talking about sweating so much.
Because don't read your arms.
Yeah, I won't. All right. Let's get into Q&A, shall we? So I'll be asking you the first question, Rachel.
Oh boy.
This is from Gree on YouTube.
That's a great username.
Pencast question, and it's several, so hang in there for a second. All warning bells aside.
Oh boy.
It's always a good start. What looks to you to be the most drinkable ink? Yep, that's right. I want to know if it tasted good and there were no bad consequences, what would be the ink that you would drink? And what do you think it would taste like?
What?
Welcome to the Pencast.
What? Why? What? I do appreciate the disclaimer up front or like the warnings aside because like my mom is instantly on like, guys,
don't drink
do not drink ink. Like I could see it turning into like a TikTok dare or what like
no, don't.
Or like, oh, it's scented, it smells good. No. Here's the thing.
Don't drink it.
Even if it smells good, have you ever like sprayed perfume and then you get a little bit in your mouth and you're like, this is terrible.
This is terrible.
That's what I imagine ink is like. It is just, yes, it's water-based, but it's a lot of dye and chemicals. Like you don't, anyway.
A lot of things
water-based. So the question, I guess,
consume.
is if it tasted good and then what would look the most appealing? I'm like, okay, well, what are things you drink? Like, are we talking like coffee, tea kind of thing? Are we talking like fruit punch? Like, ooh, that looks like Kool-Aid. Or like lemonade, but then that could also look like pee. So you have to be careful with that.
Oh boy.
I mean, like this can go in a lot of directions.
I guess in this scenario, you're choosing what it would taste like. So I'm assuming you wouldn't have it taste like pee.
Well, then I'm like, okay, well then there's scented inks. I'm like, well, but those are like floral scented. I don't want to eat flowers.
No.
Gosh.
I mean, I'm thinking like some of the darker inks, like the darker browns could be like a hot chocolate type of a thing.
Is it?
Maybe.
No, but it's not hot. It'd be cold. Like, I don't want to heat my ink.
I'll be honest.
This is weird.
I never think about like, oh, what if I drank that ink? This is like such a left field question for me. I'm having a hard time coming up with an answer.
I was like, I would have to be real thirsty. And then it would have to look like, I don't know. Like for me, like.
I'm going to die and this is the only thing I have to
drink. Like if it's a yellow or a brown, I'm like, I don't know about this. But if it looked like very like, ooh, that looks like fruit punch or like.
Or like a wine color, like a sangria type of a color.
Okay, I could get down with that.
Yeah. Or like a fruit punch.
Like a diamond Syrah that tasted like Syrah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then you're just like why not just drink wine?
Yeah. And then what if there's like shimmer? Is that like a Goldschlager? You know?
Oh, I can't imagine that would be good.
I actually did like those in college. It tastes like Big Red.
It did, yeah.
But it had like gold things in it.
It had gold. Yeah, it was gold.
But was it edible?
Yeah.
But not the shimmer that's in ink. That is not edible.
I mean,
ink is not edible. Do not drink your ink.
I do not.
I was like, I don't even want to answer this question because I feel like then I'm endorsing like
really shouldn't drink your ink. Yeah.
Don't drink the ink. I feel like that's like a Dr. Seuss thing about like, I do not like this ink. I will drink the pink ink. I know
that is a thing. Hang on.
No, it is.
There is a thing about drinking pink ink. What Dr. Seuss book is that? Oh my gosh.
It is. It's a thing.
What book was that? Oh, I haven't thought about this in years. This is where y'all in the comments will help us out.
I know as soon as we stop recording, it's going to come back.
But
there is something about
definitely
pink
come
ink
up in the fountain pen
drink
world.
Pink ink.
Oh, that could be literally any Dr. Seuss book. I can't remember which one.
It's not the what's the one you always read with the kids with the tongue twister at the end? Oh, Fox and Socks. I don't think it's Fox and Socks.
No.
It's another one.
Maybe I'll remember.
Cat in the Hat? No.
It wasn't a Cat in the Hat.
All right. If you guys know which Dr. Seuss book we're thinking of.
One Fish, Two Fish, I think.
There's a strong chance it's that because I know we had that
because
book.
That's like a bunch of random things. I think it's One Fish,
because it's not
Two
just
Fish.
about fish.
Yeah. I think it's One Fish, Two Fish.
Okay.
Check me on that. Comment about it. We're going to move on. Okay. So do you have an answer?
No.
Rachel?
No, I would be an irresponsible mother if I gave an answer to this question.
I would only drink
something. And I don't want to be like, ooh, if it drinks like what, like, then that sounds like I'm like a wino and I'm not really.
If it was like not bad, if there were no bad consequences.
I'll do an occasional sangria.
And you're choosing what it tastes like to drink. I was like, why not just get the drink? Why drink the ink?
And it's also, ink is really expensive, like per milliliter, like ounce versus like an actual drink.
Yeah. I guess like some wines can get really expensive.
Yeah, but I don't drink fancy stuff.
Even still, you're talking like $20 per like ounce or whatever. Even really expensive wine is not that much.
Let's move on. Okay. This is weird.
All right. Well,
I'm also like watching my hair like frizz as this time goes on.
Yep, it's happening.
My hair can decide whether it wanted to be straight or curly. And it's just like, I'm just here.
It's wavy. Your hair is beautiful, dear.
Well, thank you.
I love your hair.
I don't know what I did to it. Oh, I guess I asked you a question now.
Yep, we're moving on.
All right. Captain Jack 24601 on Instagram asked, how can organic matter like tea leaves be placed in resin without worry of it degrading over time? I bet this is like referring to like the Benu like Earl Grey.
Probably.
Like, because we do have some Benu pens that do have like little bits of things like tea leaves embedded into the resin, right?
Yes.
So I'm guessing that's like where this is coming from.
I don't know if it was explicitly like asked about that, but
this is like tea leaves.
That's what comes to mind. Yeah. So Benu has, in their well, we did that in the Euphoria, but in their Talisman, they also have had things like 4-leaf clover and, other stuff like that, lavender things, I think. And they actually put bits of it in there. So I will say, I don't know specifically all the details of what Benu does, because they do share some of their process, but some of it I'm sure is
it's got to be
trade
proprietary.
Secrets. Yeah. But I do know enough to be dangerous about this, because I have done some resin casting myself way back in the day. So I'll speak more to kind of what I know, and I think it probably overlaps a little bit with Benu. But basically, organic matter is not the most ideal thing to cast into resin.
When I hear organic matter,
are you thinking like
poop,
waste?
Immediately, that's what I'm thinking of. Like,
I have brought this up on the Pencast before. Do you remember way back in the day?
There was someone took dog poop and embedded it in resin. It was cat poop and embedded it in resin, turned it into a pen. Yep. I was like, that's disgusting.
And there's a oh my gosh,
organic matter. I think they're talking about
there's a term for fossilized dinosaur poop that has an interesting name.
All right. Okay. We're getting off topic.
I can't remember what it is, but either way, that's what you think of with organic matter.
I need to keep you on topic. That's my job.
You need to keep me on topic. Okay. You brought up poop. I'm just saying.
That's true.
we're the blind leading the blind here.
Mom hat.
Yep. So organic matter, like leaves, not necessarily ideal, but if you're going to do any kind of organic matter in resin, leaves or like flower petals or something like that, those are the more doable ones.
I imagine they need to be like dried or dehydrated?
So that's the big thing. So
because I remember
any type of
Banu did
organic
that
matter,
with like the tea leaves, like they dried them out. It was like a whole thing.
you have to do that. So that is like the couple of things that will absolutely make it not work is moisture.
Okay.
And then any type of like decomposition, which you either need moisture, as one, but also like exposure to air.
Okay.
So if you were to cast something and it wasn't like fully enclosed, so like you cast something, but then you turn it and like the edge of say you got a leaf that's like going through the resin or whatever, and it's like exposed to air, that's not going to be good. That's
but if it's fully enclosed,
if it's completely encapsulated and it doesn't have moisture, that's the only chance you have basically for it to work. Now, I believe when Banu does it, they do like really small particles of it.
Yeah.
It's not big parts. So they're
and I know with the tea leaves, those are
pretty easily fully encapsulated there. And I know they like dehydrate the living daylights out of it. So the way that they're doing it is the way to do it. Now, it is tricky. I think they've done it a bunch, so I trust their process. But if you're doing a home brew thing, and then also like the ratio of how you cast the resin too is super important. So there's a lot of different ways that it can go wrong. But if you get them all right, then
that's pretty cool.
It can be right.
If you get it all right, it can be right.
Exactly.
You heard it here.
It's the solid gold. You can't go wrong with that information. The other thing is any UV degradation. So if you have anything that has some organic matter in it, just keeping it out of direct UV light.
I mean, that's good for ideal. Like
it's a good for
everything.
It's good for everything.
Like
yes.
your ink, your skin.
Yeah.
Like yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. You're right. There you go. So that's it. Not a deep dive. Just enough.
Okay.
Just enough.
Okay. Ankle deep.
Yep.
Not a dive.
Ankle deep dive.
Don't dive into ankle deep water.
No, don't do that. Disclaimer. Mom disclaimer. Okay. Question for you, Rachel. This is one that you will actually be excited to answer. Okay. Monica Zhang says on the website, is the in-stock status updated in real time? For example, if someone bought the last of a certain item, does the item immediately show out of stock, or is there a delay? Phrased differently, if I bought a pen that showed in stock, could I be disappointed later to find out that it had just gone out of stock? Great question.
So I'm going to pull a Brian Goulet and say, it depends.
Hey!
No. And so the phrase differently, the second question, if you bought a pen that's in stock, could you be disappointed later? The answer is no. But there
99% of the time.
No, 99.999. Like there is a very slight chance, and it's not because of the website, but basically if you purchase something, it's yours. We have it. If you've made it through checkout, if it's in your cart, that's different. Your cart isn't a reservation.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have successfully checked out, you get an order confirmation, that's your pen. Now, the reason I say like 0.00 whatever is sometimes our physical inventory may not match the website because we might have made a mistake somewhere along the lines. We thought we had one, but we actually didn't because it got misshipped or I don't know. Mm-hmm. It is super rare. Like
in the fractions of a percentage.
Yeah.
For us to make
and that's more just like a human error thing. That's not a website issue.
We try really hard not to have that happen.
And we do physical inventory regularly enough to try to catch it. But we have multiple systems and, mistakes happen. So it's possible. But like I'll emphasize, this is like really, really, really rare.
We don't sell anything with a back order status.
No.
So
what you see is in stock is in stock.
Yeah.
Now, here's where I go to the it depends part.
Okay.
It depends where you see it's in stock. So checkout that's its own. You've gone to checkout, it's good.
That's like the system of record of sorts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now something could be in your cart, it could sell out, and then the next time you refresh your cart, then it'll show out of stock. But like if you just leave your screen up.
You're right.
That's part of it. The other thing I was going to say. So here's what's really interesting. As of the time I'm recording this video, and this is assuming everything goes well with our deploy this week. As of the time I'm recording it, we have a different app that powers our search, our collection pages, things like that, which does have a 3-minute sync delay with our products. After this airs, we're going to be on a new thing that should be a little more real time, but it might just be the difference of like refreshing the page or not. So what I will say, the product page, if you're on the product page, that is 100% real time. Again, you might need to refresh because you can't just leave your page up indefinitely and have it. That's not real time anymore.
Right.
That's only loaded as of the time that you loaded the page.
It's not like infinitely refreshing itself.
But the collection, so like, where you see multiple products and like search results, that's was currently, I'm very confused because as I'm recording this, it's not the date it's airing, but previously, it was a separate system, which then had to sync every like 3 minutes or so. So there was slight chance that it wouldn't match. And like when we'd launch a new product, sometimes it would take up to 3 minutes to show as a new arrival, that sort of thing. But as of this recording, it should be real time because we've eliminated the third party and now it's more. But that's assuming everything goes well with our deploy. So
I have another scenario where I know this has happened that we haven't talked about. If there is a really, really hot product launch, I know we had it. This was a big thing when we had the original Lamy Dark Lilac. Yeah. We had so many people checking out at the same time that there were people that had it in their cart ready to go, but literally the like seconds that it was taking to process, there were more people checking out at one time than we had products left.
Right.
So in very rare circumstances of extremely hot launches.
No. I'm going to address that because here's the thing. First of all, that was like 2 websites ago.
This was a long time ago.
And that was a hot mess. And we're not going to speak of that again because I still have PTSD from that experience.
I'm sorry.
Even recently, we had that as an issue. We discovered it was an issue with, again, a third-party thing that we use for our for shipping our orders and the inventory management. It syncs with our site, but there was like a setting about how it syncs because it's like a 2-way sync. So that did happen recently, but we figured out a way to remove that in those situations. So I'm not going to get into all the nitty-gritty. I've already feel like I've shared way too many details, but
welcome to the Pencast here. This is exactly what it's for.
But we are hosted on Shopify. That's not like a trade secret or anything. Like everybody's on Shopify because it's the best e-commerce platform. But yeah, it should not allow that situation.
Basically, with everything that's within our control, we want
if it says in stock, we want you to have confidence it's in stock.
That's part of our like.
But I always say refresh.
There you go. Yeah, so you could have a scenario where you like loaded up your cart, left it sitting there for a while, and then you go back to check out and it's out of stock because
and it will tell you
haven't refreshed the page. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, again, that's not real time. If you haven't refreshed your page is only showing when it first loaded.
There you go.
Which is not real time.
There you go.
So that was it depends.
Rachel knows a lot about these things. And you're getting a little bit of a glimpse into like just how much work it is to just make things function like you think they should.
Literally right before we recorded this, I was doing my UAT, which is the user acceptance testing for this big code thing we're pushing later this week. Because it's not just
the deploy.
We're deploying a new code and we're changing one of our backend systems. It's a major change. It affects our filters, affects our search, the collection pages. There's a lot. And then there's interwovenness.
Is it going to affect anything on the front end, like how people use it or view it? Or is it more like
shouldn't.
back end stuff?
It's all back end. We did our best to replicate everything.
Okay.
There are going to be some nuances just with some of the filtering and some of it's better, some of it's not as good, but we're going to keep iterating and try to make it.
But it should be a lot more reliable.
Oh, and it should be faster.
And faster.
Yeah. So because we're eliminating one of our third-party apps. Because guess what? Shopify doesn't come with everything out of the box that you need. So sometimes you need to
all these special features y'all like. It's like, well, Shopify doesn't offer that.
Well, I believe I'm talking more about the website in another question.
Yes,
so I'm going to ask you a question first.
Okay, let's do it.
No, you scrolled too far.
I did scroll too far. I'll scroll back. There.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the question from...
Okay.
How do you say this one?
Nega Band?
Nega Band? I don't know. It's like mega, but with an N. I don't know. If I wanted to get into nib grinding, how conscious do I need to be about wasting rare metal like iridium?
Great question.
Is iridium more rare than like gold?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. This is where I feel like you did a deep dive.
I have flirted with a deep dive on this one. But I have talked about this before, any type of precious metals. So gold is, sort of a precious metal, but it's sort of like the common precious metal, I guess. You're talking
gold's really expensive.
But it's not in like the platinum class of metals. Things like iridium, rhodium, osmium, platinum.
Is it not about
I think there's one more.
Cost is about the rarity?
Well, there's a relationship because the rarer it is, the more expensive it is.
Sure. Well, I know gold's really expensive.
Gold is expensive, but platinum and rhodium and all those are way more expensive.
Okay.
Way more expensive. Yeah. So if you get like an ounce of gold versus an ounce of platinum, you're paying way more for platinum. because it's just a lot less common.
Okay.
But those all have, and they're a lot harder metals. So they have a lot more industrial applications.
Okay.
So actually iridium is super rare. Basically, all the rare earth metals we have pretty much come from meteorites that have struck the earth at some point in history.
And iridium is what is on the tipping material of a lot of nibs.
Well, these days, not really.
I was wondering about that. Is it like pure iridium or is it like
No.
an alloy? Is iridium already an alloy?
I don't even know that most
even know.
tipping has any iridium in it at all.
But they still advertise it.
It's just because
Iridium Point,
it was
Germany.
it was used for such a long time.
Maybe there's still
That it
like
just became-
is there still like a trace amount in it so they can still say it's iridium?
I guess. Does it really matter? I mean,
No.
for the purpose of a nib tipping, whether it's platinum, iridium, rhodium, whatever, they're all pretty similar in that application to where it doesn't actually matter.
Gotcha.
They're just hard precious metals. And basically what matters is that these are more hard wearing metals than whatever the nib is made of. Whether it's, I mean, stainless steel is pretty tough too, but even the tipping material on a stainless steel nib is even more durable than the stainless steel.
That makes sense. That's why like nibs don't like wear out or like break down every time. It's not like using a pencil or like, you know.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So if you had certainly a gold nib and you were just writing with the gold on the paper, that sucker would wear away real fast. Because essentially, if you think about
Where
paper,
does it go?
It goes onto the paper that you're writing on. You can't see it.
Like gold infused into
paper is abrasive. Like even so smooth paper. If you zoom in like microscopically to look at a paper, it looks like sandpaper. It's got all these cavities and grooves and stuff like that. So that's, I mean, literally feedback as you're writing is abrasion. It's friction. And with friction comes heat. And with heat and friction, you're actually wearing away whatever the tipping material is.
It has been so long since my science class. I'm like, I'm tracking, but also like, wow.
Yeah. Like this, we're talking like physical science here.
Wow.
So
I'm sure someone's going to have even more detail to.
Probably. Like if you've ever, so there's a type of paper that we don't sell for a specific reason. Stone paper. Stone paper is essentially plastic sheets with like a stone powder on it, which is fine for things like pencils. But
how would
it's
the ink even like plastic and ink? Like how would
it actually writes on it really well.
Really?
Because like the stone stuff is like, I mean, think about like any type of powder. It's really absorbent.
Okay.
And it works fine for like rollerball pens and stuff like that. But the problem is, fountain pen ink will flow wonderfully on it, but it acts like essentially like micro mesh. It's like writing with sand, like fine sandpaper.
So it's like really
So if you want to ruin a nib, write on stone paper.
So like a glass tip pen probably also would get
would get abraded really quickly.
Huh.
Yeah. So don't use stone paper with any, it's fine with like a rollerball or a ballpoint because the ball itself rolls. So the friction actually helps that ball to roll, makes it write even smoother. So in that scenario, that's really good. But a fountain pen, you're dragging it. There's nothing rolling.
Why don't they make a fountain pen with a rolling ball tip?
They do. It's called a roller ball, like a Pilot Precise. That's what that is.
Oh.
It's fountain pen ink. Yeah, it's a refillable roller ball.
Oh.
I
meant like an actual, like it looks like in it, but
that is a roller ball.
Huh.
It's no longer a fountain pen at that point.
But it uses fountain pen ink.
Yes, that's a roller ball with fountain pen ink.
So if you had like one of those like ink ball pens, like basically like those roller balls, refillable roller balls, so a roller ball that uses fountain pen ink, that would be good for the stone paper?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
But don't use a fountain pen on it because it will abrade it. So we were talking about tipping material though. So the amount of that precious metal that's in the tipping material, I mean, essentially it's a finite resource because hopefully.
And if you're grinding,
meteors are not going to strike the earth very often.
Nib grinding is only taking away. You're not. I mean, I guess in theory you could like
you can weld material onto there, but that is not something very many people do. It takes some highly specialized skill and equipment to do that. And honestly, it's just not worth it for most nibs to repair. So pretty much nib work is a matter of, to varying degrees, grinding away that precious metal. Now, that said, it's not a lot. It's not a lot of material that you're taking away. So, if
in the grand scheme of things,
it's such a small amount of material that it's not worth trying to recapture it or anything like that. Basically, you just grind it and you get the nib that you want because that will be the better the more value than trying to like salvage anything you grind away.
I was like, there's no way to like take the
shavings.
Yeah.
Well, like a lot of jewelers and people that like work, people who are doing like carving and all that type of stuff, they will save their shavings and stuff like that.
So fine though.
It is, but when you have a material that's so expensive like that, you save enough of that stuff up, especially gold because it melts down pretty easily.
Right.
The problem with some of these precious metals, like I think most tipping material is probably primarily rhodium. But the problem with that is they're really, really hard wearing. They're very durable, which is great, but they're not very malleable. So they're hard to work with, and they have a really high like melting point. So it's like, they're just really hard to work with, which is why they are so durable. So the problem is like, even if you could save those tiny little bits of shavings, to put them back into a usable state would be so expensive. It's not really worth it. So every Nibmeister that I know, they just grind. Like if you go to a pen show and you see Nibmeisters, they're just grinding nibs all day long, and they'll have
worrying about it.
They'll have like a fine, maybe gray hint of something after a full day of grinding all day. But even that, it's not
enough
really
to feel
much of
wasteful.
anything. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's it. So if you want to get into nib grinding, your biggest problem is going to be the skill of actually grinding it, and you're going to be wasting nibs because you're going to screw them up. That's your bigger concern.
That's more the waste.
Not the material you're grinding off, but best of luck to you if you end up doing that. All right. Last question we have here is from Hillary. Long-time commenter here from Instagram. How do you keep your website consistent and up to date? Is it a one-person team? Rachel, you are the most qualified person in the world to answer this question.
It is a team effort, although I am primarily responsible, but I do not want to take all the credit because there are a lot of people who help. Mm-hmm. I used to do everything myself, everything. Nowadays,
I've contributed almost nothing to the success of our website.
Nowadays, I do have some help. I'm just going to shout out some people on our team. So Margaret is like my number one help. She helps me with a lot of creating product listings. So all the new products we carry, they need a page created for them. So we have to gather all the information, write a description, just getting all the information. So she's been amazingly helpful. So she's the number one help. Our customer care team also helps with the bottom shelf listings. Mm-hmm. So if you're not familiar, the bottom shelf is like our gently used section on the site. It used to.
Yeah. If something gets damaged in shipping, but it's mostly cosmetic.
Yeah, that's how it started out. Mostly is like, notebook with a banged up corner, or like an ink that a little bit of, a bottle where like some ink leaked on the label or something. Or now it's usually like a preferential return, but like we've tested it and it's still good, but it's not new.
We don't want to sell it as new if somebody's used it. Yeah.
So our customer care team primarily does those listings because they're the ones working with the returns and stuff. They also help when errors are found. So like if you guys find like, oh, there's a typo, or like, oh, that's inconsistent, they can jump in and help me with the things that I may have missed because imperfect.
Because you're human.
And Jess in particular, she helps me with the comparison tools. Again, used to do this all myself. So grateful for her help. So the Swab Shop, the Nib Nook, the Pen Plaza. So adding new assets to it, making sure the links are current and everything. So she's super helpful. Our inventory team manages all the stock levels, as we talked about earlier. So they're constantly updating the site with information.
Absolutely.
And then our actual like structure of the website. So we're on Shopify, but we do have a dev design team that helps us.
A third party. Yeah.
eHouse Studio, who happen to have their mug right now. So they help us with custom functionality, implementing new things, some design. So they're amazing, super helpful for them. But the images are Glenn, our awesome photographer. So I can like do like landing pages. Like I'll take his images and like I'll like fill out the home page or like different pages like that. He's the one actually taking the images.
Yes. Like full time all day.
Any feedback you guys have on the site, especially a bug, that stuff is passed up to me usually first. We try to replicate it. We try to like, oh yeah, I can see if I can fix it. Sometimes I can't fix it right away, or it's something I have trouble replicating. Then I usually get support's help depending on what it is and who needs to support it. So the long answer to your question is it really is a team effort.
Yeah. I was thinking another one too is like Crystal helps us with technical specs, like dimensions and stuff like that. Shipping weights and all that. So like,
all the measurements of all our pens, everything like that, the ink capacity, she does all that. She uploads those to the site. So truly is a team effort.
I guess I'm doing all the nib nooks. So I guess
you're
that
physically,
is the website. I'm physically writing all the nib nooks.
But you're not touching the website at all with that.
No. The only time that I'll change anything on the website will be like updating a product description.
I was like, what do you change on the site?
Very little.
We try to have fewer hands in it because then it's like if something's wrong, like
if everybody's dipping in there all the time, then it's like this thing changed and
who's responsible?
It affected this thing over here, but people didn't know that.
But if it's like fixing a typo here and there, like I have no problem with people jumping in. But if it's like structural things like navigation, I'm like, no, that's
it'll run through.
So like all the architecture for the site, that's on me. All the navigation, all the filtering, all the integrations with our different apps. The website's kind of like my core role here, basically. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, what is my title? Like COO operations. So, I mean, Sam is our operations guy for
Chief
sure.
Oracle.
I don't know. I'm like kind of like, if we have an org chart, I'm kind of like floating off to the side somewhere. I realized like 10 years ago that like managing people is not for me. And with anxiety and all the things, like I'm a performer. I love people, but I don't obtain joy from managing people.
Yeah.
So
maybe CIO, maybe.
I don't know. But I also don't like traditional IT, like, oh, we need systems updates and have you tried plugging it in and turning it off and turning it back on,
Your work doesn't fall cleanly into any one title.
Although I'm sure IT people can relate to me with this. Like often I will get a report about something on the site network. The website's being weird.
Yeah.
Weird how?
What browser are you using? Have you cleared your cache?
My computer's not working. How so? Are you seeing an error message? Tell me about it.
Is it plugged in and turned on?
Have you refreshed?
Have you tried turning it off and turning it on again?
So, I mean, and obviously we do all this trouble. And I'm joking, of course, that like, I will always be super patient. But it's, if you're in like the web IT space, the website's being weird. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, need more detail than that. But still, it's good to know.
Just pro tip for anyone. If you're ever contacting support, like for anything, as much detail as possible. Mm-hmm. What were you trying to do? What were you expecting? What was the unexpected result?
Mm-hmm. What computer, what browser, what
all these things,
software, operating system,
all that will help with the time spent to troubleshoot and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, because they're going to have to find that stuff out anyway.
But like, hey, this is being weird. Okay.
Cool.
We'll need a little more there.
Yep.
But cool. So website, team effort.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's it for Q&A for this week. Made it through that.
I guess I talk a lot too, huh?
I'm not saying anything.
But you asked me about things that like are my thing.
That's the whole thing.
Okay.
It's like, you get talking. It's good. It's all good stuff. Again, everybody here is going to love the more we talk. Okay. So that's it for Q&A. But we got Janaea coming in here for a fall themed finger down. So we'll cut over to her. You get to see her joyful face.
Play along at home.
And then after that, we'll let you know how we did too. So here's Janaea.
Hello and welcome back to one of my favorite games, Put a Finger Down Fountain Pen Edition. Now, I know it's been a really long time since we've played this, so I just wanted to refresh you guys' memory with the rules. I'm going to say 5 statements that start with put a finger down if any of those statements applies to you, you're going to go ahead and put that finger down. Now, by the end of the game, if you have 0 fingers left, that means you are out of here and I'm the winner. But if you have all fingers up, that means you have a perfect score and you beat me at my own game. But today's game is going to have some autumn-inspired themes, so let's fall right into it. See what I did there? You like it? Because I love it. Here we go. Number 1, put a finger down if you wrote with any orange, red, or brown inks this past week. Ooh, did I get you out? Either way, if you got out, don't feel bad because I will be putting a finger down too. I actually wrote with Diamine Spiced Apple this past week. And it's a beautiful red ink with some nice shimmer. It's just right up my alley and it's perfect for fall. We also have a fall favorites collection that you can go and look and see if you could find your perfect fall ink or pen or anything like that. So if you put a finger down, it's a silver lining because now you have a whole collection to look through. And so that actually brings us to the next statement. Put a finger down if you swap out your pens, inks, and accessories as a part of your fall decor. Now, I definitely do this. Like I mentioned, I use the Fall Favorites collection, and I swapped out my Sailor Tuzu for a Diplomat Arrow in this beautiful orange color. The color orange is just a perfect fall color in general, but I really love the Diplomat Arrow because it just has a really nice weight to it. It's super comfortable in hand, and y'all know I'm back in school, so when I'm in class and I'm writing with this bad boy, everybody's like, oh my gosh, she's so professional and intelligent. Like, we want to be just like her. No, I'm just kidding. OMG. All right, let's go to the next statement. Put a finger down if you've ever chosen to write with fountain pens instead of doing your fall chores. Tisk, tisk, tisk. But if you put a finger down for this one, I really don't blame you. I hate fall chores, raking leaves, putting gas in the fireplace. But the most asinine of all the chores is swapping out like the summer and spring clothing haul for your fall and winter. Like, that is the worst chore. The laundry, the lugging the bins around your apartment, literally the mess, it takes so long. I just hate it. It's the worst chore. I would much rather be writing down all the freestyle raps that come into my head. And yeah, like, sue me. I'm a mass communications major. If I wanted to do fashion merchandising, I would have done that. And that's exactly why I drag my feet when it comes time to swap out my clothes. All right, next statement. Put a finger down if you use your fountain pen to write down all of your football Sunday bets. And football Sunday is just what I wrote down. It could be football Thursday, football Monday. If you use that fountain pen to write any of those bets down or any of those wagers, whatever the girls say, put that finger down right now. And I will say, this one didn't get me out just because I'm not a football girly. If somebody asks me what my team is, I'll say the Dallas Cowboys, but that's my dad's team, so I just say that by default. I really don't pay attention either way. But I will say I like Tom Brady, and I think he's the GOAT. And if you want to debate me on that, please don't. I don't have any data or statistics to back that up. I just think he's a cool dude, and I just thought it was cool how he won with the Patriots, and then he went to a whole nother team and won. It's like, yeah, right on, Tom, but I don't really care either way. All right, last statement. Put a finger down if you use the fountain pen to sketch out or write down any ideas about this year's Halloween costume. Ooh, I want to know what you guys are going to be for Halloween, even if you didn't put a finger down or if you did. I still want to know. For me personally, I'm thinking either Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians or Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob. Now, I know those are two different characters, but I feel like both of them really they get me. Like, I could really embody those characters, but I don't know which one I'm going to pick. But I need to figure it out because before we know it, we're going to blink and it's going to be Halloween. Time flies when you're having fun, I tell you that much. But either way, that's our round. Woo! Yes, I love Put a Finger Down. It's so much fun. Yes, fall is here, but although we're saying goodbye to my beloved favorite season, summer, I'm really excited about fall. You know, it's been a long time. It's been a year since we've got to experience the season. And pretty much I'm most excited for the delicious fall foods, or even though I know I just trash talked, but my favorite fall cozy clothing, you know? I just know I can't wait to eat a good chicken stew in my teal skim set, okay? Nothing screams fall than a long john set and then some piping hot soup. So I'm excited. I don't know about you guys. Either way, that's our round of Put a Finger Down. Of course, let me know in the comments how many fingers you had left, or if you had none, or if you had all 5. I just can't wait to know. Y'all know I'll be lurking and looking and taking all y'all comments into consideration for the next segment. So either way, I'm so excited to be back. Thank you guys for playing with me. And happy fall, happy Friday, and mwah, I'll catch you guys next time.
All right, so y'all all have your finger down thing, you know, put a comment in there, but we'll go through and do it real quick.
Is it like, okay, so is the goal like the more fingers you have down, the more like hardcore you are, and the less?
I think the goal is generally to have the more fingers you have up is better. I'm not 100%.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I have all my fingers up.
Really? All of them?
I have not done any of these.
Finger down if you wrote with any orange, red, or brown inks this week. So
I just had the turquoise and the pink, which made purple, and that was not one of those colors.
So I have the red dragon. I have that in my traveler's pen. So I've been using that. So I'll also use plenty of blue, but I did use red. Put a finger down if you swap out your pens, inks, and accessories as part of your fall decor. Now you are kind of in decor mode. But
I am, but my pens are constant.
Your pens are yeah. It's not seasonal. Okay, me neither. I'm always using blue. Put a finger down if you've ever chosen to write with fountain pens instead of raking dead leaves or doing some other fall chore. I love doing fall chores.
I know you do. It's fun for you.
I'm like all about it. So no, I'm up. Put finger down if you use your fountain pen to write down all your football Sunday bets.
You don't even know what's happening.
I don't even know, is football happening right now? I literally don't even know. So I'm up on that one. And then if you use fountain pen to sketch your Halloween costume for this year, I don't think I'm doing well, I've considered doing Duke Silver.
But are you going to sketch it out?
I'm not going to sketch it out.
Okay.
No, I'm going to throw it together at the last minute if I do it at all.
So
I got 4 up. Rachel's got 5.
I feel like I'm not hardcore because I didn't do any of these things.
But I think the goal is to have them all up. So I think you're winning. Yeah.
I thought the goal is you have them all down because like fountain pens are like.
No, I don't think so. Because they're trying to like get you, trying to like catch you.
Oh.
So yeah.
Okay.
There you go. You win. All right. We're going to move on to some company updates because we have a few. All right, well, obviously the biggest company update was at the beginning of the video, but we have a couple other things. So we already mentioned this, but we have the Lamy All-Star video for Autumn Pink and Sage, which published last week. So go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. We also are going to forthcoming have the Lamy Safari Steel Black, which we also mentioned. We'll publish that next week.
We have another Lamy video coming too.
Yes.
Lots of Lamy videos.
There will be a third Lamy video coming after that. And then...
No, go ahead.
Oh, so we're also going to have, well, I guess by the time this publishes, it will be Mental Health Half Day Friday, which is going to be Friday the 13th.
Ooh. Why does it crack you up so much?
I don't know why.
Friday the 13th. Ooh.
I literally wrote that in the notes, like, ooh.
You just knew I was going to say that?
Well, we kind of talked about it, and you kind of did that before.
Oh.
I didn't know if you were going to do it again, but that's really funny.
I think you just wanted me to.
What can I say?
I don't know.
It's funny.
All right. So every month we do a paid mental health half day, and it happens to fall on.
Yeah.
This Friday.
So yeah, this Friday. So we'll be closed for half the day, but we'll pick it back up on Monday. And then I do want to, so in the whole spirit of the whole Pencast schedule thing, next week we're going to take a break from the Pencast because, we're still figuring out some logistics on stuff.
You got mid-year evaluations.
I also have mid-year evaluations for all my direct reports. So
because you manage people.
Yes, because video is not the only thing I do. So I will have plenty else to do. So I really need to focus on that. And then we'll come back on the 27th with another Pencast. So whether it'll be Rachel or not, I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, that's it for company updates. Now on to the more fun nonsense portion of it. Let's talk about what's happening.
What's happening for you is also kind of what's happening for me.
I know. That's what'll be interesting this go around. And also most of what's happening is like, here's the shenanigans Brian's up to.
I mean, that's true. That is true.
You have some stuff.
I have things.
You got a few things that you're more like, you got your things and you do them. Me, I'm like, let me get into this. Let me get into that. Let me do this. Let me do that.
I mean, you do them too.
I'm a bit more all over the place.
You just have a lot more of them.
I do. That's true. Well, let's talk about that. That's what this whole section is for. So obviously the most time consuming thing we've had in the last several weeks has been talking about Drew's transition and the communication around all that kind of stuff. Focusing a lot on our team internally too. We obviously wanted them to know first. So I've put a lot of my own time and energy into that, and then we've also got the holiday season coming up. So we've got inventory planning. We've got all kinds of stuff related to that.
Stock up, so we have, because we're busier in the holidays. Shock, I know, retail. So we have to order the inventory in advance. So there's a lot of forecasting involved. And we're making more ink samples and other things because come November, December, when there's more orders to get out the door, the fulfillment team, who also helps us make ink samples, won't have time. So we're stocking up so that we can have everything in stock. See how I did that there?
Yep.
For the holidays.
Literally stocking up. Yes, indeed. So on the personal front,
there's been a lot going on.
There has been a lot going on. Some we've shared, some we've not. So I think we put a personal message in the newsletter about this, but
I did.
We're in a band together, our church band. It's humble, but we're,
It's
reigniting some musical stuff that we had from like 20 years ago.
It is. Like, we did a lot of it when we were, high school, college. And then we got married and we
started this business.
Yeah. We sold all the gear because we weren't involved and we needed the money.
Yeah.
So, there's part of me that's like,
sad.
oh, I miss my bass. Like, it was really pretty. But some of the instruments we still have were gifted. So we're getting back into it again. So we joined a new church and they needed musicians. So we're like, all right,
we're musicians.
Let's dive in. So
why not? What better time?
I'm playing keys and singing. Keys as in keyboard. As in piano.
Not like jingling keys. That would be, that can be musical.
It is a joyful noise.
But no.
So that's been really fun for me. I haven't played like in 20 years in front of people. I've been playing piano my whole life, but I have not like it's not performing, but I haven't
playing
played
publicly in front of other people.
Yeah, it's been a while. So like it is humbling, like relearning and stuff. But like the nice thing is like all of us in the band, like it's new for all of us because it's like a new church and a new group. So we're all learning together.
Lots of understanding.
And you're playing bass and guitar and
singing, and I'm gonna be kind of a jack of all trades.
Your love for gear is
which would be totally shocking because I definitely don't talk about
what did you say recently?
Gear.
You said musical instruments are the tools of music?
Yeah, I said like gear is instruments, they're the tools of music.
Yeah.
So I love
it makes
music.
sense. You love things with your hands.
So I love the tools. Shocking. I love pens because they're tools.
And then getting into like all the processors.
I love tools because they're tools. I love instruments because they're tools. I'm finding out I just am a tool junkie. Not finding out. I've known this my whole life, but I really am
admitting.
Yeah. But
hi, I'm Brian Goulet and I'm a tool
more like
junkie.
embracing the new form that is taking, so at first glance, you're like, wow, Brian's getting into another thing. But no, this is like...
It's been there all along.
This has always been there, but it's been dormant for us for a long time. And we haven't had the right channel to really like express it. So,
we're just super excited about it. Like,
yeah,
just because music is what brought us together when we first met. It's always been a shared passion. We just had to kind of put a lot of it on ice for the business, for the kids, for just whatever else. So it's like, it's just really exciting, reigniting that. Now that the kids are old enough where they don't need us to like
watch them.
Yeah. And I'm thinking like, okay, we'll be empty nesters in, X number of years. And I'm not going to think about it because
not that many years. Yeah.
Stop it because I'm going to cry. But,
Sorry.
Making sure that we have like hobbies and things that aren't like completely, revolving around the kids, that we still have our own stuff. So this has been fun.
And I've been in therapy recently. I've been in therapy for a while, but a big thing, I think I've talked about this, the whole saxophone. The reason I got back into that was like revisiting some stuff from like my middle school and high school years. Music was something that came out as like, wow, that really was like a big bright spot when I was having some other hard things going on, and just like reigniting that, it was like
healing.
It was like a kraken that was like awakened, and now I'm like, I want to play everything. And when we first met, Rachel, I told you like
you did. You said one day when we have like the means, if we have kids, if we have a house, I would love to have a room full of musical instruments
and just be able to play all of them and just enjoy and express. Now I'm learning.
I'm like, okay, someday. And now I'm looking around. I'm like, well, I have my stationary piano. I have my travel keyboard. We have a guitar. My guitar. We have an electric guitar. We have a bass. I'm just like, I think it's all like in
2 basses.
It's in like an existing family, you know. So I'm like,
also bought an electric drum set as well because I've always wanted to try drums.
None of us play drums. I'm like, maybe one of the kids will get into it. And we're trying to convince our son to learn guitar because we're like, dude, when you start dating girls, like.
That's not why, but
No, but like it'll up your cool factor. Girls like a guy.
Kids have guitar. Like the musical.
They can sing. They can hold pitch. Like they have.
We're trying to encourage them.
I don't want to force it, but we're just exposing them. So quickly this room is like, wow, there's a lot of instruments. The saxophones are still up in your closet.
The saxophones are still closeted.
You're still a closeted saxophone player.
I am, and obviously
because they're loud.
They are. Obviously, I'm
or outdoors. You played outdoors sometimes.
I have done that, but that's gets
not
annoying.
On the tractor. You haven't done it on the tractor yet.
That's coming. I promise I will do that at some point. I was like, I know we have to do that on the Pencast. People have been waiting. That'll happen. But so for me, I'm primarily on bass, but relearning a lot of guitar too. Mm-hmm. My calluses on my fingers are getting pretty gnarly because I'm practicing a lot. So really having a blast with that, and then doing vocals and stuff. I just really want to be able to versatile and be able
You're
to
like,
fill
put
in.
me in, coach. I'm ready.
Yeah,
I want to serve.
I want to do
help.
music. I want to do music again. I missed it.
So what are you doing in your downtime?
What is downtime? Like when I'm asleep?
When you're not doing those things, when you like actually sit down,
oh,
like that's downtime. You sit, you're down.
I see what you're leading into here. Well, first off, let me just wrap up the music thing. So part of what I'm enjoying about the music is all the gear. I love all the cables and cords and all that kind of stuff. And with the bass and the electric guitar, I have a Line 6 Podgo. For those of you that know what that is, it's a processor that basically has all these pedals and amps and all kinds of stuff
so
that you can
change
do in
the
there.
sound.
That's honestly like learning another instrument. There's so much you can program in with that. So anyway, I throw that in there for you music nerds.
I was like starting, like my keyboard doesn't have like synth functionality. So I started looking into those and I'm just like, whoa, this is a whole nother world. Like, it's like getting into fountain pens. You're like, holy cow, there's so much here.
And see what's interesting with me and Rachel's approach, I'm like, oh, we're going to be a band? Let me get a bass. Let me get a drums. Let me get all these things because I want to try them all. I don't know what I'm doing, but let me just go into it.
I'm like, let me start with one instrument. Let me build my confidence back up so that I feel really proficient at it.
Yes.
And then I'll consider a second instrument.
Maybe a synth after I've done a lot of research.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? We get a synth? Cool. Let me see. What do they got?
You don't just buy something. Anyway.
I do.
Well, with my permission.
I did have to apologize to Rachel because there was one guitar.
I told you could get it, just not yet.
Yes.
Because I was like, slow your roll. You already have something on order that hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah.
And like,
I have an electric guitar
I want you to
have
it, but like, dude, you're.
So yeah, I got for those of you that know the band Polyphia, Tim Henson, his signature guitar, I got that. It's like an acoustic electric classic kind of hybrid.
So like,
it's really cool.
I told you could, but I was like, maybe not now.
You were like, you need to slow down just a little bit. And I think I waited a day. And then
I remember you coming to me. I was like sitting in the office and you sat down and like I was making small talk, like, oh, how was your bike ride? Whatever. And then you're still sitting there looking at me and I'm like, you look like you need to tell me something.
I need to apologize. I told you I'd wait, but I didn't. It's very rare that I do that.
I know it is. And we did
it's
talk
only because it had been out of stock and it was in stock.
We did talk about it ahead of time and I did give you a yes. It just wasn't a right now, but it came and you're enjoying it. And the other thing you ordered is still back ordered. So, it all works out.
Yeah. Anyway.
So your downtime. Tell me your downtime. Because I think this is hilarious.
So we talked about SnowRunner, which is basically like just virtual work, different work like logging and stuff like that. I've talked about before. So I've got a background in power washing. That's actually how we started this business. Is I was power washing.
It's not how we started this business. You were
I started making pens in my downtime from power washing.
Downtime.
So, yeah. This is what I do.
Again, downtime. You like
I either start a business or do something.
I'm not supporting another one.
So yes, I've been playing plenty of video games, but I've been playing this one called Power Wash Simulator.
Wow.
Which is just as dorky as you would think that it is. You're literally just power washing, houses and fire stations.
I remember you were like, wow, like someone really studied this. Like the tips and the different things are really accurate
to the size.
Wow.
And it's like, yeah, that really would be.
And it is kind of sasatisfying. Like I understand that, like seeing something dirty and then you're like, seeing it clean.
And there's no storyline to it. It's just, you're just literally.
So what genre of game
would
you consider that?
I was talking with Sam here at work and I'd never heard this before, but he said that falls into a category of game called chorecore, which kind of makes sense. It's like virtual work, I
mean, we've had dumb little phone games that are like, it's almost like your own little business and you have to keep the inventory going.
Yeah, where it's like you're running a coffee shop and then you upgrade to a more expensive
coffee.
Why
are we doing this in our downtime? It feels like more work.
I'm just gravitated to games like that. I don't know.
But it's relaxing?
It is.
Because sometimes like you're playing, especially like SnowRunner, you're like doing it and after a while you're just like mumble grumble and like, oh, I have the wrong thing. I have to go back. And I was just like, are you having fun? Is this fun? Is this relaxing? Because you sound frustrated.
And then I'm like,
maybe I'll take a break and go do.
Yeah, I'm like, hypothetically. Is this fun? Hypothetically. Yeah. Anyway, chorecore.
Me, my games are dumb. Like my games don't have like.
All video games are dumb if we are honest with ourselves.
I mean, I was into Animal Crossing for a while and then it got to the point it's like, okay, they stopped updating it. I have everything. I've done everything. I've rebooted my island so many times. I'm just like, I'm bored. This is nothing now. So got into Disney Dreamlight Valley. which is like a similar concept, but like very
Mhm.
Disney. I'm
Toys
not
and
like
stuff.
hardcore like Disney mom, Disney adult or whatever that
You're
is.
Disney friendly.
But I grew up in the 90s with all, good Disney movies and stuff. Anyway, so I've been doing a lot of that, and they keep pushing out regular updates. So that keeps me going.
Mm.
But my sister recently picked it up. She had surgery a few weeks ago, so she's kind of like laid up for a few weeks, and she's like, I need a new game, something, whatever. So she started playing it. So we've been like FaceTiming and texting, and like I'm giving her tips
Oh, that's
about like
fun.
what's the best bang. Because
But y'all did it with Animal Crossing
okay,
too.
here's the thing with me and games. Well, first of all, I'm a completionist. And I try to
Mhm.
do it as I go because I'm like, okay, I'm already in the level. I'm already learning it. Like, oh, let me stop. And my kids get frustrated. Like, no, just go finish the thing. I'm like, no, I got to explore this flower or whatever, like,
Yeah.
but now I completely lost my train of thought.
You're a completionist.
I am a maximizer, efficiency.
Oh yeah.
So every game I have that's like a crop thing or like, stuff you buy yourself, I'm always like, okay, what's the most efficient way to make the most money in the quickest amount of time possible? And like not hacking it necessarily, but just like really optimizing it.
Yeah, you're not like breaking the rules or anything. You're working within the system.
But here's the problem. I finish games so fast.
You're really good at them, so you beat them, and then you're like, oh.
Like I did the Pikmin stuff. Like, okay, a few days in. All right, done. 100% complete. Now what? Do it again? No. I'm almost through Luigi's Mansion 2.
Mhm.
So like, there's some gemstones I need to go back and get. But
You know what you wouldn't complete really quickly?
SnowRunner. That
You
just
can't
looks
complete
so
that quickly.
boring. But the other thing I do is just like dumb games. Like me and the kids and I are really into fruit merge. You're basically just dropping fruit, and they have really cute like faces and stuff. And you're just like,
Yeah.
it's a merge game. You're combining stuff.
Kind of like 2048.
Yeah, and like
that
the big
game
one's a
little bit.
watermelon. I've gotten really close to having 2 watermelons. I'm really curious what happens. Although Ellie did spoil it. I was like, she looked
did.
it up. I was like, okay.
Don't spoil it. But I mean, I don't even
I was
know
like,
if
I need
anybody
to
plays
know if
that.
this is something I should keep working towards or not. Because if I'm going to be like working really hard and then nothing happens, then I'm going to be disappointed. But something does happen. So,
Yep.
fruit merge.
We've also started watching Parks and Rec with our kids.
Yes.
So we're excited about that.
That's so
We're
fun.
like 5 or 6 episodes.
I was like, here's Chris Pratt before he was like superhero.
yeah, that was his origin story.
Yep.
Okay, you have a bullet on here that has Rachel Rant on it. I'm curious where you're going with this. It says, cleaned out a bunch of stuff from our closets after 12 years, which I wrote. And then you wrote, like our wedding china, parentheses, Rachel Rant.
I feel like
What
I
is
need to
your
be
rant?
like hashtag Rachel Rant because
What is your-
China. Why did we register for China? So here's the thing. We got married at 22. We didn't have a lot of friends who got married before us. So we were just going off of like The Knot and like all the like magazines of what they said you
This
should
is like
register for.
pre-social media.
And like our
really.
parents and stuff like that. So we're like, okay, I guess we'll get China because that's a thing apparently you're supposed to do. So we picked like a generic bottom line thing from Macy's. We did get the complete set from our guest, which was awesome.
Because we picked the cheapest set that we could get.
Here's the thing. It's not dishwasher safe. It's not microwave safe. So guess what? If you want to use it, you have to hand wash it first because it's dusty from wherever it's been stored. We don't even have a china cabinet. That's a whole different thing.
We did at the time.
You use it and then you have to hand wash it again. And this is in addition to all the other dishes you have of cooking.
And there's so many dishes with china.
So
You're
Brian,
using
how many
dishes
times
on
have we
dishes.
used our china set since we've been married for
I think-
what years? 18 years.
I think we've used it twice.
Twice. And when's the last time we used it?
Oh, I don't think
Because
we've used
it's still in the boxes from when we moved when Ellie was a baby and she's turning 13.
I don't think we have not used it since we've had kids. For sure.
So we're going through like our attic closet stuff. And I'm like, these boxes, I'm like, why are we hanging on to this? And someone's like, well, maybe save it for your kids. I'm like, my kids aren't going to want this.
Yeah,
Like,
they're not going to want it.
this is so much. So we ended up donating it. But I'm just like, this is so dumb. So like when my sister got married after us, I was like, don't register for China. It's dumb. I'm not, okay, let me say, if you're into China and that's your thing,
Yeah.
that is fantastic. And I'm happy for you. And I think that's wonderful. For me,
Rachel's too much of a pragmatist.
I am
Yeah, China can be delightful.
delightful.
It can be, but it's
We
just not us.
standardize on like Corel because it's like,
Oh, Corel
you can
ware is
microwave
the
a
best.
dishwasher. It can
It's-
break.
You
but
gotta really try to break that stuff. It's awesome. I
I
love Corel.
finally did buy some like actual glasses this week.
Yeah.
Because we've had plastic cups for so many years.
Oh, yeah. We literally
like-
still use the bowls that our kids had as like toddlers.
They have like fish prints on them or something.
Yeah.
I was just thinking
Like,
like,
they're
man, we have
still
people
good.
over and it's like, oh, here's this plastic cup from, and I was just like, okay, our kids are
Who
teenagers.
are we having over? We're having over like our family or other people with kids, and they totally get it.
I mean, adults too.
Yeah, but they have kids.
I mean,
so
they get
know.
it, but I'm just like, you know what? If I'm like making like a nice like cold brew or I've been using plastic, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with
It's fine.
plastic.
Yeah.
But I'm just like,
It'd be nice to have
We're-
something a
yeah.
little nicer.
like we by now we should have
Yeah.
like.
We can buy like the base level glassware set at Target. and
That's
have
exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, we're not fancy people.
They're currently in the dishwasher because that's where you can put them.
Yes, you can. Ready to be washed.
Sorry. I think dishes that you can't put in the dishwasher, just no. I don't have time for that. I do not enjoy washing dishes.
By hand
Neither do the kids.
especially?
The kids will help put away the clean dishes, but like they still get on like rubber gloves to like do the dirty dishes. Like,
That's
oh, I don't-
Joseph. Ellie tries to get out of it
Yeah.
every way she can.
I can't remember last time she
She
did.
all of a sudden has to go to the bathroom and we'll stay in there until the job is done. And we're like, okay, Ellie, we're on to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one enjoys it. I mean, maybe you do. If you do, let us
More
know.
power to you.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, I am getting
Um,
out the fall decor. It's about that
yes.
time.
Yes, which means
It's time for the birds.
right? I mean, it's kind of always time for the birds, right?
Yeah. So I, when we were
We
like,
have like full year-round seasonality
I do.
of Target birds.
I was like, man, I don't have any summer birds. I did buy 2 new birds this year, and they're $5. Like they're not. Y'all know what I mean? Like the Target birds, like the Anyway,
You're like acquiring a couple every
it
season.
started.
And over time,
It
there's a
So-
whole flock of them now. I'll
Yes.
say that.
for a while I was calling it an accidental collection because I didn't intend for it to be like, oh, I collect birds now. I actually don't really care about birds.
You
Like
don't.
I don't. But the kids thought they were cute, so
They
like
do look really
this is
cute.
what we do, and so I noticed I didn't like I still had like my spring birds, but I didn't have any summer birds. I'm like, oh, I guess I don't have any. So I bought 2. Like there's like a male that's like he's got like a little floaty on, and which is cute because he's a bird duck, and
Mhm.
and then there's like she looks like a like retired Florida shopping lady. I don't know how to describe it. It's really cute. But anyway, so I was getting out the fall stuff. I have a lot more fall birds because I don't know. That's just what happened. There's just not a lot of summer birds at all. And in the process, I realized there was a whole bin of summer decor that I missed because it was buried behind all the Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
I had 2 birds in there. So now I have 4 summer birds. And my kids are like, oh, they got left out. They didn't get displayed. And I was like, well, next year.
Yeah.
Next year
They're
birds.
okay. They're inanimate objects. They'll understand.
So the fall birds are about to come
Yeah.
out. Again, I'm not into birds.
No, you're not.
I don't know
But
how
you're
this
into
happens.
these Target birds.
And I keep buying more.
You do keep buying them.
They're
It's so
fun.
funny because I
There's-
remember I have a distinct memory of we went to Target one time and we were like, I mean, this was maybe 5 years ago, and we were like,
Oh, we need decor.
we were
I
like,
remember that.
okay, other adults they like
They have
decorate
decor.
their house because
Our aesthetic was yard sale and hand me down.
yeah, pretty much.
Our dining set, we bought it $100 at a yard sale like
We're just-
16 years ago,
we're
and
both
it's still
very
went strong.
we're both very pragmatic when it
Yeah.
comes to decor. So I remember it was like, okay, Rachel, let's go to Target. We're just gonna walk through the decor section and just like
See,
talk about like think and see, all that kind of stuff.
we did a
And
whole
all of
lap.
it. Well, I remember you were ahead of me. You just like went up and down the aisles, and you were like, okay, like I'm
We
done.
don't need any of this.
We don't need any of this. And I was like, well, no one needs any of it. That's the whole point. It's just to be there to look at.
So
And
what I
it
ended
was just so funny. It's like she's so
I just ended
practical.
up picking a shelf, and I'm like, okay, Target knows what they're doing with grouping things,
Let's
so
just
I'll
do
just
that.
I'll just pick this shelf. And I don't know how the birds got in there, but somehow birds became part of our aesthetic. Not like it's not all birds; it's just the
Just the Target birds.
yeah. I don't want other bird stuff.
No.
I don't care about
You
birds.
don't really. They're not. No. I have binoculars, and it's like we could look at birds.
I don't
but you have no
care.
interest in looking at
I
birds.
I mean, great again, great if you do. Not my thing.
I'm definitely not a birder, not by any means.
Is that what they're called? Birders?
If you like watch, yeah,
You're
you
a
watch
birder.
birds as a hobby. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, I believe that's the term. But I have a pair of binoculars, and if I hear a woodpecker or something like that, I'm like, oh, let me see what kind of woodpecker that is. I'm like, oh, there's like 19 types of woodpeckers.
ADHD.
Yeah, that's probably more what it is. Like squirrel, bird,
Yeah.
these types of things. So
I mean, other than that, like it's our kids. Like Joseph started high school, which is crazy.
He's doing great though. He's loving it.
So he's a freshman. Ellie's in 7th grade, middle school. They're doing great. He's got like some fun classes. He's doing like graphic design. He's doing like a programming class, learning Python. I'm like, wow, I don't even know that.
Yeah.
Because I'm rusty. Tech drawing and design, so like engineering CAD software stuff. He's looking at like the robotics club. He's just a real sweet, he's a smart kid. He's got a really good group of friends. I was like, oh yeah, homecoming's coming up. You know, I was like, are you gonna ask a girl? I was like, you know, like,
no.
I was looking back and I'm like, you know what? My favorite memory of high school was like when I went to homecoming with like 22 people in a group. Somehow I ended up being the one calculating the tip. Everyone's like, give me 20s and I'm good at math. I don't know. It's just, it just happened. Anyway, I don't know if I got voluntold. I don't know. It just happened.
I'm sure
but anyway,
you were
I had
in that
so much
group
fun.
and you were like, what? Like nobody knew what they were doing. And you were like, what? Somebody has to do this.
Someone's got to take over logistics.
Yes, that is how it happens.
Ellie's doing like art and theater. She's already like getting ready for her audition for the musical in the spring. Her audition's not till January.
Oh yeah.
It's Beauty and the Beast. She's listening to the soundtrack over and over and over again. She's got like a checklist on her door.
She's listened to it over 100 times.
Oh, it's over 100 times. This morning,
I don't know where she gets that kind of obsession.
She recently got contacts. That's been a whole thing with our morning routine of like trying to get those in. She's getting better. This morning, she was so funny. She looked really nice. She like did something different with her hair. And what did you say?
I said something like, you know, oh, I'm going to have to start following you around with a baseball bat to like ward off all the boys.
And she's like, no, I'll be the one with the baseball bat. Like,
and I was like, that's what a dad wants to hear.
she's our spark plug. She keeps life interesting. She's definitely like, she'll be fine. She's got confidence.
Yeah, she'll be good.
The kids are so fun.
They're at a fun age.
But I'm driving like all the time.
Oh yeah, we're basically just like Uber drivers at this point.
They're like having a social life, which is great, but they can't drive yet.
Yes. So here we are. But that's like good.
Womp womp, as
that's like
they
good,
say.
Good. That's like our alone time that we get with the kids these days. It's like,
that's true.
You're captive in a car with me. You have to talk to me.
I mean, they don't have to.
I mean, well, I don't know.
I've had plenty of car rides where
I'm usually able to get them to talk a little bit. But I put music on that they like.
Depends what mood they're in.
Yeah, true. You're picking them up after school, so who knows what's happened during the day. I'm usually driving them to school, and you're kind of like starting fresh every day.
That's true.
And we're just listening to pretty much to Sonic Frontiers, like speed metal songs, and they're singing along, and we're just having a good time. That's like every morning. So anyway, there you go. That's what's happening. So you get Rachel's side of things and my craziness, but you know, you do your things too.
I support you.
You do. You
because
are
I
so
see
supportive.
the passion and the joy that these things are doing, and
for better or for worse, it cannot be contained.
You're not reckless about it. Like you're responsible with it. You're not just like, you know, it. You're being good.
Thank you.
And I'm enjoying this with you. It's
True.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, we are enjoying it, and the kids are like, as we have guitars kind of sitting around, the kids are like plucking it and you know getting more interested. So like, there's a potential.
I've always wanted them to get into music, but I just didn't want to force it. You know?
Yeah.
So
it's okay. If it happens, it happens. I mean, we were both in high school when we started doing guitar and bass.
Middle school
and stuff
for
like
me.
That. Oh well, I was in high school.
High school for bass.
I played the clarinet in middle school, so guitar seemed like a bit of a leap.
I quit flute and then I started playing guitar. I'm like, this is better.
That is way cooler.
This is way more useful.
A little more universally.
Daily applications.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
Anyway.
Anywho.
I'm getting tired.
That's it for the Pencast here. I do have a random fun fact for you, but we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. All right.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too, dear. We want to thank y'all for watching. You know, give us some feedback. Let us know how you like this new format or whatever this is now.
Be nice to me.
Yes, please be nice to Rachel. Like, we want her to come back.
This is not going to be a regular thing, and I know I'm not.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I love doing this with you. I always have loved shooting videos with you.
I am a special breed that is not for everybody.
That's okay.
I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
I think you're pretty
palatable. Like, I don't even know if I would be friends with me.
You have always said that.
I have said that.
You're just very like.
You and I are very.
Tell it like it is.
Yes, and you appreciate that about me.
Oh yeah. When I met her, we were 17, and I really did not date very much because I was like, I need a very special girl, and I met you, and I was like, straight shooter. Like
didn't play games.
Yep. and it served us well.
It's a double-edged sword. Like if I'm dissatisfied with something or unhappy or I don't want to be somewhere, and like I'm at the point I'm like, okay, I'm getting tired, I'm getting hungry, like it's gonna start showing on my face. I don't filter. Oops, I don't.
You don't filter.
I don't filter well.
Yeah,
which
but I like that.
It's great because you can read me.
Yeah,
but also I have
if
trouble.
I'm like, how are you doing?
I have trouble faking
and
it.
You're just like, fine, and I'm like, you are not fine. What's going on? And then you tell me.
Yeah,
and then we move on, and it's great. Usually I've done something wrong. Or you're just tired because I won't shut up or go somewhere on time. Or
there's life happening.
There's life. True. Anyway, leave us some feedback. Be nice to Rachel. Ask us some questions because we'll need more for the show. And now Rachel and probably Janaea will be in here. So you can...
Yeah, if you have questions for anyone like on the
contextual
team
questions for them would be great.
Yeah.
Check out gouletpens.com, our self-sponsor for fountain pen, ink, and paper needs. And my random fun fact is about rhodium, because there's a lot of rhodium used in fountain pens. A lot of it's in tipping materials. A lot of it's in the plating that you see on your trim.
You guys like these deep dives?
They do.
Really?
They do.
All of them?
Yep. All of them. Literally every single one of them. This is their favorite part. So I believe that rhodium is pretty much the primary metal used in most nib tipping these days. It's also used for a lot of plating of nibs and trim parts on fountain pens because it's very hard wearing. And it's really good for electroplating. So rhodium is one of the rarest elements in the Earth's crust, comprising an estimated 0.0002 parts per million.
I don't know how to process that.
That's not very much.
Okay.
Put it that way. The main exporter of rhodium is South Africa, which was approximately 80% of it in 2010. There's a random year.
Is that like where it is like
where it comes from? Basically where the meteors hit the Earth billions of years ago. And then Russia is the next biggest importer.
There's a big land there.
Exactly. The annual world production is about 30 tons of rhodium, which is really not that much annual for the whole world. 30 tons. The primary use of this element is in automobiles as a catalytic converter.
I would have thought like jewelry, like everything that's like white gold is like rhodium plated.
That is plated in rhodium. Yep.
I'm pretty sure this is.
But the main like industrial use for it is catalytic converters.
Huh.
Let's see here. So it's catalytic converter helps with like your emissions for gases and stuff.
It's a car thing.
It's a car thing. Yeah. So of the 30,000 kilograms of rhodium consumed worldwide in 2012.
Consumed?
Not like used for industrial purposes. Not like
ink.
Eaten.
Don't eat your ink.
Don't drink your rhodium.
Don't eat rhodium. Don't drink ink.
So 81% of that went to catalytic converters.
Huh.
Yep. So that was 24,000 kilograms, and then 8,000 kilograms was recovered from old catalytic converters. So they do recycle them.
These are numbers.
And then about 1,000 kilograms of rhodium was used in the glass industry.
Huh.
And then mostly for production of fiberglass and flat panel glass. And then 2,500 kilograms was used in the chemical industry.
So is it like jewelry is like scraps?
Jewelry and even smaller fountain pens is essentially a pretty insignificant
Oh, I'm sure fountain
portion.
pens is like the scraps of the
it's
scraps of the
not
scraps.
not even worth tracking how little of it is used of what is a relatively small industry anyway.
But that does explain also why sometimes, and manufacturers, distributors sometimes just like eat it, but like a gold plated like trim on a pen versus a rhodium plated, so like gold versus silver, we call them gold and silver as far as color goes.
Yeah.
But usually it's a rhodium plating.
Mm-hmm.
Those are more expensive because
rhodium is a more precious metal.
Yeah.
Yep.
They don't just like make it in silver and make it in gold. It usually like starts and then it's like plated. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's really hard to work with as a solid material. So rhodium is most ideally used in an electroplating process. And then my last random fact about rhodium is that in 1979, the Guinness Book of World Records gave Paul McCartney a rhodium-plated disc for being history's all-time best-selling songwriter and recording artist.
Because this is 79.
It's plated.
Well, I'm saying this is 1979, so these are not.
But you have like gold and platinum.
These are not CDs. They're not compact.
They're like vinyl. They look like vinyl records.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's not that the rhodium plating was probably not that expensive.
That's true. The plating can be like super thin. It's not like made of it.
It's like the modern like Olympic medals and stuff like that.
Oh, they have
They're
like just
plated.
a little bit of
but it's you have like your gold and your platinum. Well, they gave him a rhodium, which is like super special because, you know, he's such a top seller. That was in 1979.
Is there anything above rhodium?
I mean, osmium, I think, is a little more rare.
What is osmium?
It's in the platinum family. It's like one of the densest materials on Earth, I think. Yeah. Osmium's pretty weird. Or obsidian. Maybe that's the osmium.
Those are
I think.
different.
Obsidian
is a gem.
Is that a stone? Is that a gem?
Yeah, it's like black.
Okay, so osmium is what I'm thinking of then.
Okay.
Anyway, that's some fun facts. Questionably sourced fun facts, but you know, you can.
I think we're approaching the 2-hour mark.
We're
under.
Approaching...
So this is like short for a Pencast,
well, we'll have
right?
Janae's segment to add in here too.
Yeah.
So we're picking up pretty well. So you see how it just happens, Rachel.
It does, but I'm so tired.
You're tired, and we haven't had lunch yet, so we need to go eat lunch. But anyway, let us know what you think. Do you like Rachel in here? Only say yes, because she needs some encouragement to do this again.
If you're mean, I won't come back.
Yeah, don't be mean to Rachel, because come on, that's my wife. Anyway, enjoyed doing this for you all.
Choose kindness.
There you go. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Right on.